During the music. Hi.
Sorry about that.
I'm just surprised I fucking got here.
Yay.
I'm
I'm keeping my eye on OBS.
Oh yeah, I saw that tweet.
Yeah. No, that was
Alright, so
earlier. I had to reinstall OBS because it wasn't working. Am I coming out okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, I guess the stream's off then.
No, it's still going. Like, I had music going, but because I'm still in a call, everybody can hear you.
Oops.
That's right.
Well,
Do we want to go on a 5-minute break?
Oh, there it is. Shit.
Do we want to go on a 5-minute break?
Yeah, sure. Let's go for a 5-minute break. I need water anyways.
Yeah, let's hang up the call.
Okay. We'll be back in 5 minutes, folks.
Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
Again.
I'm back. I have some crunchy food, so forgive me for crunching. Waiting on the two other co-hosts to join in. Yep. This is the way in life. Connected. How's Twitch going? Yeah.
I'm in.
Hello. I've already apologized in advance for any crunching and noises because I like Apple Jacks.
I haven't had Apple Jacks in so long.
I know. Personally, I like them better without the milk. Like this is just me. I eat cereal without milk. Hello, Red.
Hello. Are we
I
good?
can understand why.
It's because
How long have we
my
been-
brother chugs like half a gallon of milk a day.
Jeez. That'd
Well-
make me sicker than a dog.
Well, he has broken some bones before, and he donates blood and plasma.
You did mention that before.
Yeah, he abuses that part, so he drinks a lot of milk.
All right. So are we back? Are we on the air?
Yep. Everything's back to normal.
All
I'm
right.
eating crunchy food, and I have 2 tamales waiting.
I take it we can't merge this stream with the other one.
Merge?
You know the.
Cut the end of the last one and connect to here.
Yeah.
Oh no, everything is live. Everything is live.
Oh, good. Well then, sorry about that, everyone. We had technical difficulties, but we're back.
I did.
Good.
Yeah, there's a windstorm outside,
Yep.
as usual during the spring.
Yeah, I'm getting some of the wind down here too.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we could end the lawbreakers part then, since we basically got all our points out before the web went out.
Sorry, I had to mute
Anyway.
the thing on OBS to finish crunching because there was actually something I wanted to say that I realized while I was upstairs.
What?
I think there is going to be a bit of an issue with the game Lawbreakers.
What's it?
The name. The YouTube algorithm is so finicky and so stupid that it's going to think that when you put Lawbreakers in the tag or in the title, it's not going to think, oh,
You're supporting breaking the law or something.
Yeah. So if possible, this is a bit of a stretch because I know it's going to cost some money, but if possible, maybe change the name of the game.
Change the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of different variables you could actually use. It depends on like what you're going for, and then you could use various slangs or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just checking YouTube now. Let me see something. No, when I type in Lawbreakers, what usually comes up is literally the game itself. There's no like,
I know.
you know.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, that's good. But still, it's a
Before,
bit,
when
it's a
I
bit of
used
an
to-
issue. Like, just make sure that you are making 100%
You
sure
gotta
to
play
the
it right.
algorithm that it is a video game.
Well, apparently, Lawbreakers, the game is the whole word, like the two words merged into one. That's apparently how they
Yeah.
get around the issue. So
All right.
it's good.
That's creative.
Shall we move on?
Yeah. So our next topic.
I have sent the list of topics to Bill, so he'll be up to date.
Okay. Excuse
I
me.
was just writing it all down for myself.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. The next topic, I suppose, is since Bill's here, I guess we can discuss this one more in depth. This one's for Destiny, I should say. Should Destiny have gone free to play like Warframe? Would that have saved its reputation?
I don't play Destiny, so a lot of these games that we talk about, I've never played. I'm just aware of them.
I'm kind of in the same boat.
I do know that, like,
Jeez.
wasn't Destiny is made by the same people that made Halo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bungie.
Yeah. Basically, there was a split, and the ones who made Destiny are Bungie, and the ones that are making Halo now are just 343.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and since I am privy to some secrets in the background, I can say this. The split was more than just a figurative term. What wound up happening is that none of the oh god, sorry, too much water. None of the uh, when the people left to Destiny, none of the programmers went with them. It was all the writing team and maybe like a few programmers. And on 343, none of the they only had the programmers left and none of the writers. So you can see where this problem slowly appeared.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who's been on and off with Destiny, specifically in the lore community, I can say this: Destiny is an extremely interesting game, and my God, is it amazingly creative?
Yep.
But it is so boring, and it's sad.
I will say, just from the trailers I've seen, like, that guy with the robotic face, is that actually how he's animated in the game?
What, his mouth moving and
Just
glowing
how
and
well
all
he's
that stuff?
animated in general.
Oh yeah, yeah. That follows all the way through
Okay.
the games.
Then yeah, this game looks nice. That is my only
That's the
bias. The
problem.
robot guy's mouth moves. It's good.
But that's the thing. It's like Destiny looks pretty, but there's nothing to do a lot. And one of the big issues with the game, and again, this is the same with Warframe's issue, its story is hidden inside stuff.
Oh boy.
And
So
Well-
basically, the kind of issues that they have it all nicely fleshed out and all these wonderful, amazing things, but they lack the substance and the meat of the entire game.
Exactly. And it's what's worse is that and I'm sure everyone here knows about like Dark Souls item descriptions, right? How they tell a small story of how the weapon or item is.
Oh,
Background
I'm
and
so
lore
happy
of
right
it.
now. I am so happy right now. You say Dark Souls, and I look to my left. I have tamales. This is an inside joke.
Yeah.
Whenever
But,
somebody talks about Dark Souls, I start craving tamales.
Yes.
Mm.
Maybe this will finally break the curse.
Nope. It
Well, we
won't.
tried.
Fingers crossed.
So
Don't say.
it's the same thing with Dark Souls item descriptions. The game has items, pieces of gear and weapons that tell a small story, and it's okay. Now, this is the thing people have an issue with, and this aside from the lack of content. Destiny 1 and 2 are both $60 games, but
Ooh.
they are exactly as content filled as WoW on its first year.
Ooh, ouch.
Nothing
And
to do.
I've played WoW, like Legion and whatnot, and it's a really amazing game. But it's like you think about back to the beginnings, and I've looked up videos of this of how basic everything was because they're still building it. It's like it's leaps and bounds and light years difference.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
but here's the issue as well with Destiny. People, when Destiny 1 first came out, and I should probably mention this, a lot of quote unquote DLC things were on the disc. People found ways to glitch into these areas, and they were complete. Like the floor was set, the area was ready. It just needed enemies and items.
So basically, they just entered an empty room and got to look around.
Exactly, and this now this is the thing. I have no problem with, once again, free-to-play games having this issue of cordoning off areas from the player to add it in later in an expansion. But it goes about it.
Whoa. Whoa. Stop your roboting.
Major robo.
I can't understand what he's saying. I'm trying so hard not to shake the cereal too much.
Am
I'm trying not to make a joke about it.
Am I good?
Yep.
Thank you for including my picture in there.
You're welcome. I was trying to find one that didn't have any text on it, because then it would be really weird.
Yeah. Didn't have to
Anyway.
include it, but okay.
Well,
Anyway,
no, this is the second episode you've been in, so sorry. Carry on.
Thank you. The big thing about, like I said, I have no problem with single MMOs and play games doing this, basically signing off areas for the player in order to add something new later in an expansion pack. But Destiny does not earn that. What's the word? Does not earn that status. It can't do that because again, people paid $60, and especially for Destiny 1, it was, I want to say, a few maps that were like open world but extremely linear. Like here was the definitive path forward, and you could not get off that path. You could see everything around you.
So
and
it was a giant rail game, basically.
Exactly. Like there were these huge open areas, but there you could never leave what I'm calling the box of linearity. You had to go through one specific area every time. There was no way of going around things or avoiding combat. You had to go through these areas all the time. In fact, stealth was basically out the window. You had to play tank or go home.
That throws the entire premise of open world right out the window.
Yeah, and again, Destiny 1 was not open world, though. It was like a pseudo open world. Like, here's the outside world, but you can't go there because of invisible wall.
You know, I gotta say, the one thing that comes to my mind for rail riders like that is like Call of Duty, and they actually designed it.
Duty.
I was gonna say they actually designed it decently where you're just a rail rider, but you can see everything. You don't necessarily have to go there, but you can at least see it.
Yeah, that's what Destiny 1 did, but unfortunately it didn't do it well enough to, like, it's in the distance. More like, why can't I jump over this 2-foot box kind of problem.
Oh, the invisible wall crap.
Exactly. That's what I just said. It's like, oh, it's all cordoned off by invisible. And it doesn't.
Ooh, I hate those things.
And this is the issue I'm going to bring up now. The more massive expansions of levels and missions and stories were behind paywalls of $15. So you've got a $60 game with $15 expansions tacked on for later, and there were just 3 expansions to it. There was House of Wolves.
That's $105.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Again, when people say games are too expensive to make, it's like, fuck off. Just fuck off. And
no, I would say when it say that it's too expensive to make, I can understand it in some cases. It depends on like what they're designing or how much in depth they're going. But in that case, it's just bull.
Exactly. And what's more egregious is that, first off, I'm going to say this right now. I know this is like spiraling out from what I was suggesting. Well, no, actually, it is a discussion topic, so I can do this. House of Wolves specifically showed us new areas that weren't shown before, which is all right, like the new social hub and everything. And for what it was, you were basically playing as Samus Aran. You were a space bounty hunter hunting down the Fallen. It was pretty cool. It was a nice little diversion. But at the same time, after it was done, you couldn't continue bounty hunter feeling. You couldn't keep hunting down targets and turning them in. It just ended. After you beat the big bad, it was over. And
well, that sucks.
Yeah, it's like,
that's
okay,
a waste of $15.
Yeah, but then you get a new social area. That's cool and some new gear. But at the end of the day, it's the immersion is gone. It's ruined.
I forget.
Personally, go ahead.
There have been so many of these games now, but I remember Jesse Cox was talking about a Final Fantasy game where after you complete the game, you get to explore the world.
That's
and then the one that he started complaining about, you thought, hey, as soon as I finish this, I get this beautiful world I get to explore. Nope.
That was the Square Enix rant one.
Yes. Anyway, and then the next one, Taken King, actually adds more story cutscenes, and we actually get a bad guy who talks. We get. Oh, sorry, I actually skipped over one of the expansions because there was so little to do in it.
Wow.
And that was
wow.
Dark. That was the Dark Below, which was also $15. So that was 4 $15 expansions.
Wow. Just
Yeah.
just 2 of those expansions equals $30. So that's 60 piled on top of the already very expensive game.
That's 90.
Mm-hmm.
We're already breaking the
And you're still
100.
getting nothing.
Yeah. No, here's the thing. The trailer for The Dark Below was interesting. You get to fight what one of the enemy factions, the Hive, considers a god and all this stuff. And then it just boils down to go to these areas, fight Swarm, kill boss, repeat. Go to this area, fight Swarm, boss.
Oh Lord,
This
the
is a
grinders.
model defense mission. Plug me into the console and don't let the Grenier get to me.
Exactly. And even when you get to you know what's insulting? Even when you finally get to fight Crota, the big bad of the level, the boss fight is so obnoxiously boring that when you do kill him with his own sword, it is a brief moment of amazement because you see him glow, explode, the sword glows in your hand. You see this black world behind a portal suddenly appear and then disappear. It's all amazing, and then you go back to the tower and you don't even keep the sword.
So basically, it's this traumatic build up, and then
Back home. just put the sword in the trophy case and we're done.
Yeah.
Don't even use it again.
It's not even in the It's not even in the trophy case. You don't even get the.
It's in your mental trophy case.
Exactly. There's no.
Take a picture of it and then walk away.
Destiny has no trophy room, which sucks. You get a vault of loot, but it's all generic gold.
So basically, you take a Polaroid and you walk away.
Exactly. That's basically what it became.
Wait. Destiny 2. Destiny's on like the PlayStation, right?
I believe PlayStation and Xbox.
Then there is a trophy.
Technically, yeah.
You get one digital trophy. Congratulations.
You get a pop-up that says, "Congrats, you beat this guy's butt. Go home."
No, congrats. You wasted $15. Now wait again.
Yeah, really. Mm-hmm. Both of them.
And then when you do get to do the Taken King quest, which actually has some weight, Crota's father, Oryx, is pissed because you killed his son. That sounds badass. Yeah, you know this one. Bill knows this one.
It has a really good premise, a really good build-up, but it just
boils to nothing.
It's like a flat whoopee cushion.
Exactly.
You can't even sit on it and make any noise. It's just done.
No. It's not even a whoopee cushion. It's a fart bag.
At best.
No, it's a thing.
It's fart
yes,
putty.
The family dollar.
But the thing is,
the family.
Oh, the silly putties.
It's fart putty, but unfortunately, you're that one kid that just can't get it to work, so it never farts for you.
So
exactly.
It's that little hiss.
Exactly. And that's the thing with Taken King. It's a cool premise and everything. And I mean, the boss is like kaiju levels of big. It's like on foot. That's cool. But the boss fight is so tedious.
So short.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The only cool thing I can say about the entire expansion is the following. The cutscenes are amazing and well done. The Taken are an interesting idea. Basically, enemies who are robbed of souls sent to fight you. The big bad is a cool enemy design. And you
pointed out the animation in general was really amazing as well.
Yes, and you get a sword. You get an actual elementally powered sword. But that's it. That is literally everything. Everything else sucks.
I have linked the Destiny website in the description on Twitch, but unfortunately, you can't find Destiny on Steam, and I still can't. I still can't capture Chrome. So you guys are just going to take our word for it that the game looks nice and check out the links.
Yes.
And there are plenty of videos on YouTube you can search around and you can see for yourself the action and the playthrough. And you can see how amazing the animation and fluidity it is. Because I've seen a few clips.
Just look up Gamers Little Playground and just watch the cutscene movie. Save yourself the time.
So regarding the original question of if Destiny should have followed Warframe's path on this.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that would have helped it.
Mm-mm.
I really don't.
I am of the opposite opinion. I think that if it did go free to play, people would have been more open and receptive to it. However, does that mean that they could have still gotten away with half-assing the game like they did now back then? No.
Okay, in that way, I would say, yeah, I agree on that one. But it would be a very, very tenuous footing to try and survive that.
Exactly. No, it's like the only reason why people so long was because. Go ahead.
Why people what?
You cut out.
I said why people stuck with Warframe for so long was because the game was updated. The devs were transparent with you guys.
And they updated regularly too.
Warframe was evolving. It was growing and changing every week, almost every week.
Exactly.
Yes, and they actually listened to a lot of the feedback too.
Yes. I mean, and I have to say this now, and especially with Destiny 1, it was not the greatest thing in the universe. Like I said, if it had gone, even actually, I'll talk about the last expansion real quick. And this is like, it was its last desperate attempt to draw people in, and that was the Iron Lords. And it was cool. I think that one is the only, like that one and Taken King were the only ones that were actually worth the $60. Again, amazing cutscenes, a clever story. The Fallen discover an ancient self-replicating machine and they basically turn themselves into the Strong. It's all amazing and cool. And it actually ends in a credible way. All the Iron Lords of the past are gone, and yet the last one dubs you a new Iron Lord, and you get an actual sword, newly forged and minted. The legacy lives on. It gets you hyped for the next game, and it did it well.
They just shot themselves in the foot.
No, and then the sequel basically just says, yes. Okay, now go out there.
Yes.
Even with the cutout, that made a whole bunch of sense.
Sorry, I said
that actually fit amazingly well, even with the cutout. I will say that from my own perspective on that.
Sorry, I said and then the next game comes out, and then it's basically, yes, you're an Iron Lord. Okay, now go out there. That's it.
This is like, that just makes me think of Ratchet and Clank. Oh, you saved the universe. Okay, go to all these different planets and do it again and again.
Exactly, that's basically what it was.
But the thing is, like with Ratchet and Clank, you get really cool looking weapons, and every character is really well fleshed out.
Spyro was another one that kind of did that. Spyro's another one that kind of did that.
Yes.
But again, both Spyro and Ratchet and Clank had amazing upgrades along the way. Like
and again,
different things
the
were
characters
changed.
Were so well fleshed out.
And they were so lovable and memorable.
And like even if you forgot what you were doing, there was always something you could do. Like in Ratchet and Clank, you could destroy the terrain and really dick around with the enemies. With Spyro, you could just burn sheep.
Exactly. And I'll say this right now. Again, one last note, I should say. For Destiny 2, it does do that Ratchet and Clank thing where you're kind of depowered. The starting foot is very, again, basically, alien race comes and destroys city. And you're basically, what was it? You were a god in the previous game. Now you're just knocked down to mortal. That's a cool idea. That was a good premise.
That is also Spyro games, because at the end of every game, you lost all of your powers.
Exactly.
In some way or some form.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then it all gets ruined at the second mission when you recover all your powers and you're basically a demigod again.
That's I forget which game it was, but they had something similar. Was it Super Metroid on the GameCube or something like that, where you had all your odds and ends, and then you had to regain them?
Yeah,
that's
it's
a lot
the Metroid
of games. That is a lot of games.
Yeah. Well, there was one in specific, like the Super Metroid one that came to mind, was where you had to go through all that, but they had it so well spaced out that everything was a challenge to get there. Yeah,
that was Metroid Prime 1 through 3.
There was one of them, and then there was another one that did something similar to that threw in other mixes. I forget which one that is, but that's been so long ago I don't remember.
It could have been Fusion.
Could have been. Yeah, you're right. It was Fusion, because I remember playing that one. I remember playing the hell out of that one, and that was a good game.
Yeah, you see, I remember the good games.
I only remember watching my cousins play the one on the GameCube where Dark Samus just suddenly appeared
Oh
and
yeah,
then
Prime.
Number 2.
disappeared.
Exactly.
I've been a fan of Super Metroid since the original NES game, so.
Hmm It came out
Likewise.
on DS.
Oh, I know, but it originally came out on the NES, then the SNES.
Yep. We are so
And I have both
devolving
of
here.
those.
We're
Yeah,
going
I
so
was
far
about to
off
say,
track.
let's
We're
go.
talking about Destiny, and then we're talking about Spyro, then Ratchet and Clank.
Well, here's the thing: is that even though we're kind of derailing on that, it actually all ties together because it's the same topic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you got to give leeway for that.
Yeah, so I guess in the end, at least tying up Destiny's question here, had it gone free to play, most people would have stuck around with it. Maybe Bungie could have made it better, and the expansions might have had more weight to them. I don't know. I just, at this point, the reputation is destroyed, and the devs have basically just pissed on the fans one too many times. Again, I would get into more detail about that, but I think I'll save that for another time. Maybe next episode.
Different topic.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's move right along. We've got
Moving right along.
3.
I am out of food.
So we've got 1, 2, 3 topics left, and then the month thing.
Yep, the monthly thing.
Month. Yep. So let's see which one we should go with next. Oh, okay. Since we were on the topic of open worlds, are open worlds are open worlds a good idea for video games, or can they really drag them out and make them boring?
Both. I'm a fan of open world games, and I would easily say both because I've played both.
Yeah. For me, the open
Go
world
ahead.
games I play are sandbox games mostly. But I think it mostly depends on the targeted audience.
Easily. It also depends on, I think, the end goal of each individual topic.
And of course, if there are characters in the game, it depends on them too.
Yes.
Exactly.
Like GTA 5 was a good example of a good open box game. That's pretty much all I can say.
Exactly.
GTA 5.
Well, that's the first one that came to mind, and the one that came to mind was Red Dead Redemption. Assassin's Creed was pretty decent for it too.
I'd rather lean towards GTA in that aspect because I've only played San Andreas, and I loved it.
I would say this.
It's a good stress relief and guilty pleasure game.
I like applying the cheats and making a tank fly over the airport. Sorry, Rev, we keep interrupting you.
Rev's turn.
Thank you. I believe that open worlds are a good idea for RPGs only, because then these games are specifically designed for you to go in, do various monotonous things, farm, waste time, etc., and then to move on to the next point of the RPG, the story of the RPG.
So kind of like,
Breath of the Wild, Dragon Age, Fallout 4.
Yeah. Breath of the Wild was kind of interesting. I don't think I've ever played it, but I've seen some of it. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, Skyrim open world was my favorite.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
Granted, Skyrim is very blah on colors, but it felt so good to run along a mountain cliff and see the valley down below.
It felt like you're actually running that cliff face.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Skyrim is heavily populated to do what you're moving.
Heavily populated what?
It was heavily populated too, so you always had something to do on your way to the next thing you want to do.
You had all these different random show-ups, be it wildlife or other travelers that you could interact with.
The thing is, with Skyrim, you had a very limited range of character voices that were in the game, but each character that appeared was so unique. They had a different story, they had a different background, they had a different look, same voice, but still unique.
Even
Yeah,
the
well,
generic NPCs had some background to them too.
Even the
Yeah, well,
except
depending
for the
on
guards.
Oh yeah, the guards were copy paste everywhere. But I
Well,
would
that's
say
about the
this:
same for almost every game.
there were a few a few very quest-specific characters who did have different voices, and these guys were kind of like rare and far between. But because they were so rare and far between, they actually had an impact. You know, you were like, oh, you were interested again. Like you would expect to hear the next, the same character you just heard suddenly appear through this other guy, and then no,
The same monotonous tone or the same worry or panic.
Exactly. And then you had this completely different one. You're like, oh, that's amazing. That's different. I mean, even. Go ahead.
I remember walking through Whiterun, and I could physically point out the one, like each guy that sounded the exact same. And for some reason, every time I would look at them, my brain would start thinking of Dennis Quaid. like you got
You got better hearing than I got.
Well, no, it's just my brain works differently. I remember the elder for one of those warring family houses, and then I went to the other elder. It was the exact same voice.
Yeah.
And then I went back to like the starting town, and there he was again in the shop.
You see, this is what we don't see is that it's actually the same guy running across the entire world, swapping out clothing every time.
And then came Farkas. He is the most unique voice I ever heard, and I loved him so much.
You see, that's what I mean. It's like this Skyrim was
Come on,
smart.
New Blood. I'll show you to your room.
Skyrim was smart.
I married him in game. And then he disappeared. I don't understand what happened.
Could have been a glitch. It could have been something attacked and killed him. Which can't happen.
I have told the story thousands of times. Thousands of times. I joined the Imperials. I was going to defend the gates. I see Farkas being swarmed by Imperials and attacked for some reason, and they pushed him off the wall and outside into the void.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
And
that was a glitch because you're inside the city.
I know, and he's nowhere to be found anymore.
Anyway.
I should have told him to just stay at my place in the other town, the thief town.
Ripton.
Anyway, yeah, Ripton.
Yes, thank you.
Open world works good with games like that, with RPGs and exploration games too.
Anything that you have to really do a search and explore kind of a impact.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And the big thing about these games, especially now, this is where I say the open worlds fail. Now we've praised, we've sung the praises of all these games from start to finish, and now I'm going to bring up some games that kind of do the open world and utterly fail, and that is Mass Effect Andromeda. Mm-hmm. We also have many of the Assassin's Creed games as of today.
Yeah, Horizon definitely do that.
Horizon Zero Dawn is another game which makes the open world very boring very quickly. And Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah, I've seen some video footage of that one, and that one was just so bland.
Shadow of Mordor suffers the issue of, while it prides itself on being computer generated, it is very obvious that the elements given to the computer to generate said things, characters, and events is extremely limited. And it is very possible for one person, especially in the second one, for one person to see this all the possible combinations repeated twice in one playthrough. This doesn't just go for the orcs; it also goes for the locations.
I thought you meant the elvens and whatnot too.
Oh, no. There are no elves. There are no knife ears in the game.
It's just in
The
Rev is racist towards elves. Spread
I've
the
always
word.
been racist towards this. I've always been racist towards the fighters. It's always been me.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Another
but
issue
that's
with Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War games is that there is already a story. Like, we know Lord of the Rings. We know there is a story. So there's really not too much they can do.
yes,
And trying to
especially.
reinvent the wheel doesn't work.
No, here's the thing with with the first Mordor game. What made it stand out was not only the very well made Nemesis system, but the story for the first game was self-contained. There was no overarching goal of doing anything. There was no goal to kill Sauron. There was no goal to do anything. It was mostly a man's quest for revenge in Mordor. This is the point where everything started to kind of kick off for the movies. And that was fine. That's why the game did so well as it did. But
It's
this is
following
what
a predestined already story and all that.
exactly. But then when Shadow came out, which is the sequel to the chip bag, which is being consumed as we speak, HH.
I'm sorry, what?
We could hear the crunching on
That's
your
not
end, and I just
me.
said,
That was me.
"Oh,
He has Hostess cupcakes and Twinkies.
yeah."
And
They
I'm
called
eating
me
the
the fat
hostess
one.
cupcake.
Oh, point. I had to say that
I
joke
am
when I
out.
heard
I
the
said
thing.
not that long ago. I am out of food.
Oh, well, you see, I was paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
We noticed.
So yeah, so yeah. But anyway, my point was Shadow of War. Yeah, that was it. Shadow of War. The game was very much focused on being this huge, expansive. Meh, 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 let's make it tie into the movie. All that stuff. And it just wound up being this humongous waste of time that made no
They try to
sense.
tie too much.
Exactly. And look, I'm going to say this right now, especially for Sauron. Why the fuck did they make his elf form look like one of my escorts? Seriously, he looks like an elf prostitute. Yeah, I said it. What you gonna
There's
do
a
about
lot
it?
deeper lore about him that I don't really know. I used to know this person on Tumblr who knew the Lord of the Rings lore to the point where you don't know where they got this information, but it was true. But you just don't know where the hell they got it.
Oh,
It's
I
almost like
know.
they talk to the author themselves, you mean?
No, I know a lot more than I'm letting on, especially True Master and all that. I know that. But however, I'm just making fun of the fucker because I have no respect for him.
Fair enough.
I'm just rolling around in my wheelchair across, just flipping everything off.
You're like the only time you actually respect him is when he was that giant knight throwing people
Exactly.
around.
When he was actually badass. In fact, like even the first game does that well, where the fucker is menacing. He beats a man with a hammer for fuck's sake. You see it happen. And then in the second one, it's just no. He's constantly in the prostitute form, and it's just annoying.
Nyeh.
In fact, but like I said, it's not only that, but a lot of the going back to the open world problem. The game has a consistent issue of reusing areas that you went to and redoing fortresses over and over again. And it just became so repetitive that not only were people tired of seeing the same orcs all all over again, but it was also the constant repetitive locations you wound up you wound up going to, and after a while, you just got bored with the thing. And the same issues, the same with Horizon Zero Dawn. And it's not the issue of it was also repetitive. It's the issue of you would travel for a little while and just because you're so slow, it got really boring. And you're just like, I'm tired. I'm done.
I gotta say this: as much as I love playing World of Warcraft time to time, it suffers from the same thing.
Exactly. I mean, and what was it? MMO. Is that
Yeah,
it?
in general, almost in general.
Yeah, this is the big issue with MMO specifically. There's only so much you can generate before eventually just being like, okay, we've run out of space here. We need to stop.
Yep.
So, I believe in summary, or does anybody else want to make a point on this topic?
I want to say this, somewhat related to this topic. I rewatched
All right.
Critical Role do a one shot of Shadow of War. I watched it and went, oh no, they have no idea. They have no idea how bad it's going to get. Because, like, the entire time, they're super excited. And even, like, a guy you would never expect to have such an amazing, deep orc voice, he's super excited for it, too. But now, current day, it's just, oh no.
The pain.
Oh
no,
no.
I'll say this: Shadow of War has little to no interesting characters, and I will say this right now: it needed to go the Overlord route, and I don't mean Overlord the game. I mean in which you could command minions that were very powerful, but also had personalities that you could like and actually care for what happens to them.
Oh, like the Command and Conquer kind of scenario.
Yes, but they didn't do that for the base game, but they did it for the DLC.
Not surprising.
In the DLC, you get a few new orcs specific to that DLC. One of them is this gigantic brute who wants to create the ultimate bronze city for orc kind. Like he's an engineer.
Yeah, tell me about that one.
Yeah, he's an architect, and it's a cool idea. I mean, he's clearly smart, but also still very like, I'm going to beat you with my working hammer because why not? You got an archer who's devoted to Morgoth, the master of Sauron, and he kind of hints that Sauron might be going rogue. Again, hints, doesn't say. You got this
they
weird.
Can't break out of the story yet, so.
Hmm?
They can't break out of the story yet entirely, so they only hint at.
Oh no! This is an issue that's persistent because nobody knows it. Not even Tolkien stated that if Sauron was actually acting on behalf of his master, if he actually went wrong.
He did.
And
okay.
Yeah, the book hints that he did. I mean, sorry, this DLC hints at that Sauron has gone against his master and his stuff on his own because he's a bitch boy. Still pissed about that, by the way.
But
we noticed.
But we've gone from like open world to Shadow of Mordor shitting. Put simple.
So I guess we could combine the two.
Open world games are good if it's really fleshed out. Like, because your players are going to try and do whatever they can to avoid the story and see their world. And if you don't have anything in it, you're boned. Mm-hmm. Like Shadow of the Colossus did something like this. Like it is another one of those semi-railroady games that are open world, but you could explore the world and you could understand why it was empty. But there was stuff to see. There was stuff to explore.
Also had a nice little touch to that.
Exactly.
To add to your Shadow of the Colossus, it also had a nice touch where it kind of actually involved the open world exploration as a part of the story.
Yeah.
Like there's certain aspects where to continue the story, you had to explore in the first place. Because they're really showing you all the ruins and the details as you did the exploration.
Oh yeah.
And what's more is that with the going to that point, as you're playing, you could easily speculate what happened, what were these ruins for, that kind of thing.
You could come up with like 2 or 3 different theories.
Exactly, and it could have. That's what made Shadow of the Colossus interesting to a lot of people. And the same
that was water and not vodka?
Yes, it was. I'm fine. But I'll say this as well. The Witcher games, well, I guess The Witcher 3 specifically, does the open world good as well. Because not only are you going to villages and meeting people and following the story, you also have the option to go out into the wilderness, but the likelihood of encountering beasts and creatures to hunt was so high that you were encouraged to do that and be careful.
And if you didn't have that encouragement on your own, there were other hunting missions and side quests that gave you that incentive to do it, or at least try it.
And amazingly enough, while some areas might have been like huts and other things, they managed to keep it fresh. That is something most open worlds do not do anymore.
Yeah, it gets real stale. Like, I mean, Witcher 3 is one of those that you could play 2 or 3 times and you can still enjoy it because there's always that one little nook you can never get to just right.
Exactly. And then when you do, it's like, oh my god, you know?
Going back to Skyrim, I was that idiot who would get themselves over encumbered and be slow walking. And I did not care. I would happily slow walk from Riften to Whiterun. And maybe I would stop at a mining town and sell stuff. But here's the thing. I have run all over Skyrim, and not once did I ever see something old. Like, I could run the same path over and over, and I would always see something different. Like, one time I saw a saber-toothed tiger. Another time I saw a band of guards with the captive. I killed the guards. And I picked them clean. Another time I got ambushed by a wyvern. Another time it was forsworn and some ice wraiths. It's just, there's always something different. And it's usually because of the characters, but at the same time, the environment does change just a little bit.
Exactly.
Just enough to keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
Again, this is the big thing that open worlds have lost. The sense of wonder, exploration, and danger. Now it's all just kind of like, well, the player could get anywhere, so in the sake of starting them off early, we're going to make everything shit easy.
Would you say that Bethesda is somewhat the master of that?
Of open world?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they
hey, do you want to buy Skyrim for the 6th time?
No. It's not only that.
You go ahead first. I'll go after.
Okay, thank you. It's not only that, but they've had more games to perfect the open world formula than most devs ever try. I mean, you have the Oblivion, Fallout. You have Fallout. You know, you have all these other games to perfect them in the course of years to the point where we enjoy them now.
Yep.
Okay, now go ahead.
I was going to say that the one thing I always liked about the Elder Scrolls series, because I started, I think, on Elder Scrolls number 3 to now. Morrowind was what I started with.
Okay.
And the thing was that even though the older games had their own issues and they were good or bad or this or that, they all had that one single little thing that would just change ever so little, and the entire thing would look entirely different.
Exactly.
And that was something I noticed with Fallout as well when I played Fallout New Vegas and what was the other one?
New Vegas.
Or no, you already said Vegas.
Oh, sorry,
I think
Fallout
it was either number 3 or something like that, and then the newest one, what little I could play on the computer before my computer crapped out from memory space. But whenever I play, but it has the same thing. It's like you explore the same place 2 or 3 times over. It's like, okay, I know this area, but it's like, no, you don't.
Yep.
No, you do not.
All right. So we've made our point. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Well, then what's left? Then we've got 2 more topics.
And then the 2 monthlies.
I will never play a Fallout game, by the way, ever. I will never play. Give me Skyrim.
Just
give me.
If I had not played Fallout before, I would have agreed with you. But once you play Fallout, you kind of get hooked.
I would not be able to get hooked. No.
Not your
I will play the Elder Scrolls. I will play Skyrim. I won't play the online bullcrap, but I will play.
Oh, that one was royally messed up.
Yeah.
And I had such high hopes for it too.
Same.
I didn't. I knew that was bound to fail.
Anyway.
I had suspicions, but you know, Wishful
I
thinking.
was I was the one cynic who stayed behind.
I didn't really look into it. I just knew there was a lot of people who were excited for it, and then nothing happened.
Exactly.
It's like you knew it was gonna. It looked so good. You had so much hopes, but you kind of knew in the back of your head, this ain't gonna go well.
Exactly.
I'm just glad that that Mike the liar was in the game, was in the online game.
Mike. Yes.
I remember
Mike
seeing a post on Tumblr. Somebody accidentally spawned in 800 mics on top of that mountain.
Oh
That
God.
was part of the
No.
So there were all these Khajiits and cabbages is everywhere.
Oh Lord.
This
I
is
love
truly
him
how the world.
I love him so much. Oh,
Before we change topics, I have one really tiny quick question regarding Elder Scrolls.
what?
Sure.
Which one would you say is your favorite out of the entire series, from whatever to 5, or like whichever?
Skyrim.
I only played Skyrim, so I can only say Skyrim.
Okay. Well, I remember I've played Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim, and honestly, because Morrowind is the first one I played, that one has a special place. But by comparison,
I watched my
Oblivion
brother
and
play
Skyrim
Oblivion.
are really close.
I watched my
I would say
brother
Oblivion
play.
and Skyrim are close
I watched my brother
because of the
play.
exploration.
I watched my brother play Oblivion, and
Mm-hmm.
it looks so empty to me.
There were moments where it was, but I do have to say that Oblivion had a lot of the exploration detail that Skyrim had, because you had a lot more forests you could go through.
Yes.
I
You
guess.
even had a unicorn in there.
I guess like for me,
I actually caught it at one point.
I like Skyrim more because it's feels more like home for me.
Yeah, I can see
That's
that.
fair.
Like
All right.
whenever we go to Seattle, we pass through a mountain pass. It looks exactly like Skyrim.
Usually the closest I get to that would be going up to Tahoe.
Insert Skyrim theme each time you pass the mountains.
Hey, you want to buy
It's just slowly
Skyrim for a
starts up.
6th time? We now have VR.
Oh
I'm not
Lord, the
gonna let
VR
that
for
go.
Skyrim.
I'm not gonna let
The
that
VR
go.
for Skyrim, that was something. And I'm not gonna say some other words with that. Mm-mm.
Anyway, let's move on.
Yep.
Now.
Please.
So I guess we should do the Bioshock one.
Yeah, let's go with BioShock.
Okay.
So-
So for people who
Go ahead.
you should say. Oh, well, I was about to say, for people who don't know, in recent news, a new Bioshock has been, I can't say released, more like teased at
Oh yeah.
being
News
in
to
the
me.
creation. No, I'll let AJ talk about it because she's the one who's breaking
I'm actually the one who
news.
found it for once, and I'm not somebody who looks at gaming news at all. Only until like 2 hours before this session or during the session I look into it. But no, there was actually a video posted. I'm gonna see if I can find it so I can read the title, because it actually had the speculated title of the new game. But for those of you who lived under a rock for some weird reason, BioShock is
Like me.
is kind of like, what would you call it, like a psychedelic horror or something like that?
No. It's more like
It is an adventure game with like aspects of horror in it. Like it's kind of disturbing.
I would say it's
Bioshock
maybe
1.
more like a thriller.
Yeah, a thriller.
Bioshock 1 is a it is a first person shooter. It does have elements of horror geared towards, it's mostly geared towards a more suspenseful and action driven game than most
The haunting
horror.
investigation kind of a vibe to it.
Exactly. It has a sense of decay, raw, but it also has a sense of being alive, active, still
And survival.
living. Exactly. That's what Bioshock 1 is. If we're talking
And that's
2,
still my
then,
top favorite.
if we're talking 2, then
Cutting in.
Go ahead.
I remember, like, do you guys remember G4, the channel?
Yes.
yes, I remember it.
I remember watching. Thank you. Captain Sparkles. I remember watching a countdown to the number 1 best game, and BioShock came in 3.
Oh yeah. They used to
BioShock,
do that every year, didn't they?
Yeah, BioShock was number 3. Super Mario Bros. The original was number 1. I call bullshit. I'm not a fan of Super Mario Bros. I respect people who play it, but I'm more of a Legend of Zelda fan. Anyway.
What we don't
I
see is
grew up
that
with Super Mario over Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
What we don't see is Miyamoto in the background slipping them.
Oh gods, I am reminded of that joke we never got to say for Metal Gear, but let's leave that at that.
Oh yeah. Again, one day it will be said.
Someday, if we ever come up with if we ever find a topic for Metal Gear. Anyway, BioShock is.
We'll get there some point.
BioShock is a thriller game that can be a bit spooky for some people, but it was an amazing game. The second one was just as good, in my opinion, for that one.
The second one is more. It continues the story of BioShock 1. It's more. Yeah. It's a sequel. In
it was less horror, less thriller, more adventure and
action.
Exploration.
And more closure. Like it was meant to just close everything out.
With BioShock 1, I'm just going to be simple here. You play a guy that crashes a plane into the ocean. You find a lighthouse, and you go down. There's a city under the ocean that has gone to chaos. And it is...
And that's putting it mildly.
Yeah, I would not be able to play it. Ever.
I played both number 1 and 2, and number 1, like decay is like the simplest way to phrase it. The actual more thorough definition I would use is it's gone to hell in a handbasket and then some.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
As someone who's, and again, this is putting my own, life experiences. As someone who's lived around for so long, BioShock 1 felt like just going on vacation to me. Going under the seas and taking some time off. That's what it felt like.
This is actually this kind of ties into a joke that everybody makes with Rev. He was not born as a human. He spawned out of a host and lived in like a tank of some sort of
water
material, probably radioactive waste.
No, it was Adam. It was pure Adam.
and devoured like all the other squid hatchlings, and he became the only one that was there. Anyway,
moving on.
BioShock 2, you play the role of, I guess you could say like a mini boss that you fight in BioShock 1. You play a Big Daddy.
Yeah.
And I love Big Daddies. Holy crap, they're so cool.
Originally, you play, I think, was another survivor who crashed or something like that. Ends up at Rapture.
No. I remember. No. I remember.
You cut out.
I said I remember speaking to a lot of the guys on the dev team way back in the day about this. And BioShock 2 was meant to be more like. It was meant to be a return to Rapture, but the idea was that you are someone from the surface who hears about the city and then comes down to it when they start noticing children go missing near the ocean. And basically that was the idea. Then they changed it a few times, and then eventually you play as Delta, the Big Daddy. That was the point. And if you actually... hold on. If you actually look for some audio recordings in BioShock 2, I don't know where, but the original story is still there. Except
I was actually just about to say that. Like that's what I was trying to say.
I'm sorry.
During your little spiel,
okay.
They scrapped that story, but they at the same time they kept it. You're not playing the survivor. You're playing a Big Daddy. And you're just trying to find the little sister.
I will say it's been so long I don't remember all the details.
Yeah,
so.
I've watched like Yogs Casrithian play BioShock so many times.
I do remember a lot of those audio recordings. Is like you're listening to, is like, what? How did this happen? And it's just like reeling you in more and more.
The thing is, like, even though you know what happens, at the same time you really don't. I'm still
Yeah.
clueless about a lot of things. Like,
Yep.
but I need to focus here. You play as a big daddy. You're trying to find your little sister, which is the little girl standing next to the big daddy in the screen, and you're trying to find closure in this game. You're trying to find a means of stopping whatever the hell is happening to the surface with these people, and things are still going crazy.
Well, no, actually, you're
No,
trying to find the girl, but the point is that for your own survival. Because if you're if he's separated from,
yeah.
he
Yeah.
dies. That's the point.
But
It's just that you get the option to save. You get the option to save the little girls, and that's where it kind of gets messy.
this is the thing about BioShock. It's like deciding: do you want the good ending or do you want the bad ending?
Yes.
Personally,
It's the Pariah versus Paragon decision tree.
the good ending and the bad ending mostly depends on how much of an evil son of a bitch are you. Are you going to willingly slaughter a child, or are you going to let them live?
Or are you going to save them all, which is what I did.
That's what I
Actually,
always do.
Yeah, and BioShock 2 kind of takes that morality and kind of twists it again with some of the characters you made, which I found clever.
Like with BioShock 1, there was like an underlining, you're always doing what the person tells you. Would you kindly? And it kind of like correlates with the player. We are so there's people upstairs. We are so obedient. We will listen to an NPC and do as they say, but we never think about it.
Well, the other thing is also kind of. I remember somewhere along the lines reading something or hearing something. They kind of played that in as kind of like how not just talking or listening to NPCs, but it was also like how culturally people are raised to, if you're polite, you listen and you help them out.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like that whole lead along, and then the entire mind screw comes in and is like, wait, what?
Exactly.
Telling me what?
And it kind of continues into BioShock 2, but you see but it's not being done to you. You are seeing it being done to other people, and it is horrifying.
Yeah, you're on the outside looking in and watching it all happen.
Well, here's the little thing about that. There was actually a scene from BioShock's original story, and it was originally the ending to the original concept, which the ending was you allowed them to turn you into a big daddy to be reunited with the girl, just like in the audio. However, they removed that, and then they changed the story. Then they focused it on Delta, and the idea was that you were seeing the process of how Delta was created, and then it would cut into the original intro. But once again, it was removed because it made no sense, which is kind of a shame.
I mean, the process
together. Well, not only that, but the process is very similar to strophification. Like you're seeing everything through the first-person view. You can't do anything to stop it. You watch as they inject you with things. They put a device down your throat to destroy your voice, and then at the very end,
and the screws and etc.
No, and at the very end, your body is so numb and weak that by the time they put the helmet on, you have no Delta has no strength to resist anymore. It just ends.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm going to move right ahead and say, then Infinite came out.
That's what I was trying to work our way towards. Can you please continue?
Actually, I'm going to say this real quick before we continue. We should probably stop interrupting each other. Just wait for everyone to finish.
Yes.
It's getting ridiculous now.
By the way, now you know how it feels to be me and Bill in a group. Anyway, if I can continue. BioShock 1 and 2 were really good. I love BioShock 2 a little bit more, but then came the shit show that is BioShock Infinite, aka BioShock 3. This game is vastly different. It goes the opposite direction, though still has some of the same this still has the same similar mechanics as 1 and 2. In Bioshock 3, you play, I guess you could say like a hired gun who goes up into
hired detective, I think he is, something like that. Sorry.
I'm just gonna go with hired gun. Makes it easier.
That works. Yep.
He's a mercenary. He goes into the clouds. There is no sunken city, and there is a floating city, and you have to find a girl locked in a tower and get her out. You got to get her out of the city, and the game itself is beautiful. Like, Bioshock has done a great job on making things look amazing, but there was so much crap in it that just was not needed. There, I did not like it. There was religious propaganda. There was racism to the max. I hate that game so much. It looks beautiful, but I hate it. Not only that, like they take a couple decades backwards. You're not in like the 1960s or 50s. You are in like the 1800s. You're like post-Revolutionary War.
1880s, 1890s, something like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
I would like to mention real quick, if I can. Regarding the whole racism aspect, I can pretty much guarantee I don't think anyone really liked that, but I would say that because of the setting, it kind of fit.
It wasn't necessary. That was the issue. There were so many moments where it just wasn't necessary.
The moments where they weren't I would agree on that one where they weren't necessary, but at the same time, it's kind of like for certain spots. It's one of those little topics.
The game would have done just fine. Like, it does just fine now. It's just, still, it was so bad. But they liked to push that in your face when it just wasn't needed.
That's the part that that's what I was trying to get at.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It's just not needed. And
it's the same as with, like, when they have these different games that push, like, let's say, whatever kind of paranormal or religious or what have you. It's like, we get the point already. You don't have to shove it down the throat. Step back about 5 or 6 feet.
This is why I like the analogy of a religion. Religion is like a dick. It's nice to have, but don't whip it out in public and shove it down somebody's throat.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, if I can now say my piece, because again, I do have on these things.
I'm sorry, what?
For Bioshock, I said, because I do have some insider knowledge on these things. Again, through personal ties and so on. Again, that I can't go into, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I was informed of Bioshock Infinite, the original idea was a lot worse. And basically, in Infinite, that's so weird. In Bioshock Infinite, the idea was that
what the fuck?
That's on Bill's side.
I think you're hearing a siren outside going by. Sorry.
Yeah, it's his side. But the original concept for Infinite, which it was more freak show circus.
You're cutting out.
Am I clear now?
Yep.
Am I good?
Try again. I think you're good. Let's try again.
Bioshock Infinite's original concept, freak show carnival circus, than it was with Island in the Sky. And a lot of these, in fact, I think I can share some of these things with you guys. And again, you can put these up on the stream if you want me to change.
I think the whole sorry to interrupt. I think they had like a whole director's release about all these details, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. That's why I can release a lot of this.
Okay. Because I remember hearing of it somewhere. It's like they went from like Carney sideshow to just some weird whatever I don't even know what the fuck they called it, but
to this shit show that we have now that I really don't like.
Right.
This game makes me freakishly uncomfortable, and I don't like it.
For those reasons, there's actually quite a few who don't like it. But as a game itself, if you can get past that, that's a different topic.
I'm putting it in the gallery of our group chat, so
Right.
that way you guys can see it.
I'm gonna step away real quick. I'll be right back.
All right.
Oh god.
Oh, it's only gonna get a lot worse. It's only gonna get a lot worse. And like I said, a lot of these, it was very clear that a lot of these people were subjected to this horrible kind of messed up thing. You know, kind of like how with the, what's the word? Kind of like with how Bioshock 1 plasmids affected everything. You know, how people lost their minds to plasmids. It was going to be a similar theme to that, but it wound up getting changed. Oh God, sorry. Ugh, I hate eating and drinking at the same time. But a lot of these concepts got scrapped early on due to a combination of it being too disturbing and that they had no artistic core to it. Like a lot of the things wound up getting changed and scrapped and redesigned as the game began changing hands very frequently. And amazingly enough, a lot of these concepts, these oh god, what's the word? Here. Hold on. These vigors and other things like that were actually supposed to cause a lot worse than what we saw in Bioshock 1. Like we're talking about cellular regeneration instead of degradation.
Yeah.
And it was surprising how even the even a lot of these beasts, behemoths, and monstrous creatures all around just really began showing how deep and dark the rabbit hole really was. I'm not sure at what point they decided to have it change to what's it called? To this Columbia version, you know, the version where segregation clearly never happened. In fact, what's more is that Songbird, the creature itself, was never meant to be, from what I was told, Elizabeth's guardian. This thing was supposed to be a watchdog for the whole city. Like it would fly around the city at stalking vehicles, people, and one of the points of the game was that the bird. One of the points of the game was that planes and other like early manned vehicles would fly in the air, and then suddenly they would get horribly ripped out from the sky and fall onto the city, kind of like thunder and lightning. And I think I found the original version of the Songbird. Yeah, here it is.
Oh, please do share.
Well, like I said, Songbird never was supposed to look a bird. Well, you know, with the beak, I mean. Originally, it was supposed to be this thing right here, this very
It looks like
warped...
a big daddy with wings.
Exactly. That's basically what it was gonna be. But the idea was that this thing was more sentient than Songbird. Like there was a very clear human aspect to it early on. But then, for some odd reason, they said, no, obviously they redesigned the face because it looked way too much like a Big Daddy, with a Big Daddy with wings. And they said, no, just change that, make it different. It's fine, whatever. And so they wound up changing it. Infinite is the major issue with Infinite, a case of attempting to make something be as surprising and interesting and trying to outdo Bioshock 1, that it wound up becoming this I can't say mess really, because it is competently built story. It's just they sacrificed a very disturbing and creative idea for the sake of shock value and strangeness, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would people, in all honesty, would it have been better if it remained a sideshow, freak show kind of game?
Probably.
Well, I agree. And honestly, I'm so sad that Bioshock Infinite's original concept of Elizabeth and all these other characters just kind of vanished. And
Just
it was quite
bleh.
sad. Yeah, because if I remember correctly, specifically, she was supposed to be this. She was just supposed to be this girl who had unique powers due to her growing up in Colombia, where like everybody else was losing their minds to the vigors. Yeah, vigors. Elizabeth was supposed to be very much sane, competent, and a living, breathing girl from Colombia. But her powers were so unique that people wanted her for selfish gains.
Yep.
And the Songbird specifically wanted to take her because it was kind of like a Beauty and the Beast kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
He sees her beauty and he thought she could see his. That's kind of what happened. But then it all went to shit.
Yep.
Especially at the end.
So, carrying on.
So your original point, I suppose.
Bioshock Infinite is one that I am not even going to link at all because personally I don't like the game. If you want to look for it, it's on Steam. Go for it. I honestly, genuinely don't care. So don't ask me. I don't care. Bioshock.
But I care.
Well, I don't.
Sorry.
So, there has been hints that there is going to be a fourth Bioshock game. The only image, like, I saw a video about it where one of the developers for Bioshock was, I guess it was at one of the conventions, one of the recent conventions about it, and he tweeted kind of cryptically that there's not going to be something of another game, but there is something about Bioshock they're going to do, and it's going to be something brand new.
That's what worries me.
Mm-hmm. Where could they go with this? Just where could they set this?
Well, we've all, again, going to Infinite, we saw where this passion, in quotations, took them.
Yeah.
That was a nightmare.
No, and he's back.
Sorry.
Don't explain.
Well, no. I'm thinking in terms of this new Bioshock game. I'm thinking, where could they go? Well, the obvious choice for a lot of fans would be go back to the ocean because that works so well. But then, Bill, are you okay?
Yeah.
If you're gonna,
I'm just
you are breathing into your mic. Can you please mute yourself if you're gonna do that? Because that's very weird.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Just take a few minutes to relax, man. Don't worry.
I would like to clarify this mic is built into the laptop. It's nothing near my mouth. It's just whatever's picking up.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, don't worry, man. Like I said, the obvious request would be take Bioshock back to the ocean, by the fans and everyone like that. And there's no problem with that if you want to go back to your roots. But the issue would be.
Kinda is actually. Again, I watch Yugs Cast with the End play Bioshock 2 a lot, and every time I watch, I notice things every single time. And this time, like my more recent watch through, there technically isn't a rapture anymore.
Oh no, the rapture's gone.
Yeah,
like it's sunk to the bottom and destroyed.
What could they possibly do? They can't go back to the ocean. Like, well, specifically, they can't go back to Rapture.
Yeah, there's
That's
nothing
an
that
option
says they
that comes
can't.
to mind.
I mean, there's no reason they can't build a new Rapture with blackjack and hookers.
Or, well, there's also no reason for them to not go to a different part of the city before it all sinks.
Well,
An offshoot or something, you mean?
Yeah,
well, there's
kind
the
of like what they did
issue.
with the DLC. Because with the DLC, they all like the DLC for Bioshock 2 also closed the doors on certain things, and the DLC for Bioshock Infinite didn't.
Well, actually, I need
It
to
did, but at the same time, it
preface
didn't.
this. No. I need to preface this about Bioshock 2's DLC. That actually takes place before everything sunk. It's not exactly a segment that was spared.
I know.
No. I'm just clearing it up for everybody else.
I know.
Because the
That's
way
what
you
I'm.
worded it
That's
sounds-
what I. That's literally what I said.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Sorry, I'm.
Like with
is
with the
it clear that-
DLCs, they closed doors on things that weren't solved. Like the DLC for Bioshock 2 was. It's not during the events, but it's pretty damn close to it.
Yes.
So they could do something like that, but make a whole new game about it in a different part of the city.
It could work, and there is a 10-year gap between Bioshock 2, so maybe you could make a set of game in between 1 and 2 and kind of run with that, or you could do a game that happens during the events before Bioshock 1, when everything
I was
starts
actually about to
collapse.
say that. Maybe they could rewind the clock even further and show us just what exactly happened. Because yeah, Bioshock Infinite's DLC somewhat showed that, but it wasn't spectacular.
It was super condensed and had so many inconsistencies. I was like, okay, this is fan fiction at this point.
Yeah.
I do have one thought of something else they could do.
Hmm.
It's a bit of a stretch and then some, but consider that Rapture kind of mimics Atlantis after it sank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had Infinite, which was a city in the sky, and if you go through certain, say, stories or legends, you have that castle in the sky kind of a storyline, which some, I think, Ghibli Studios made an anime movie off of.
You could say
Mhm.
Olympus, though.
Yeah.
Well,
The other one
Olympus
that
is
comes
based
to
at the top
mind-
of a mountain.
True.
That was what I was going to say, is that they could go to Olympus or Shangri-La even. Because
Oh,
it kind of
God.
follows along that same path, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Just a random thought that came to mind.
Well, I see your point. And again, I think that if they do go to, when they do return to Bioshock, because, at this point we're just kind of banking on it, it
Mhm.
needs to be a new setting. It really
Mhm.
does. And the problem becomes, where can you go? You've gone to the ocean, you've gone to the sky. All that's left is the land, and then that's kind of boring as it is.
Could probably
Well,
go
that's
underground.
why I was thinking you could do true, but that's also why I was thinking like a mountain, because you have both underground and above most of the other things of the normal
Mm.
landmass. So you kind of have like 2 or 3 different variables with a mountain.
I think underground would be more logical in this, because like Bioshock 1 is based in like the 1960s or so, like during the atomic age.
Thereabouts, yeah.
1969.
Yeah, basically
Okay.
it's the atomic age. So
Mm-hmm.
being underground would make more sense, because like people on the land
True.
during that age always talked about being bombed. So
They always
you-
had the bomb shelters and everything ready.
yeah. So maybe they should have one where it's an underground city.
Maybe
That
something
could work, actually.
Yeah,
Now that I
actually.
think about it.
The thing is,
makes
like,
more sense than going back to any of the other options.
the thing is, there have actually been some books that do this. What was it like? Oh God, what was it? It's a movie that my dad continuously watches.
Was it the they were hidden underneath and they come out in the middle of the city?
No. It's I just know that Bill Murray is like the mayor of the town, but they're underground. Is City of Sparks something like
Never heard of it.
that?
The one that comes to my mind is a really old movie where they sent the one son up ahead to test and check it out for everyone, and he just enters this entire new world because everyone's fine and there's never any bombs.
Never heard of any of these.
This is an old one, real old.
City
I'm
of
grade
Ember.
school.
City of Ember. That's the name of it.
Yes,
That
I
is the
vaguely
name.
remember that.
That's the name of the book. Also, a movie with Bill Murray in it. I don't care for it because it's on so damn much. But but they could do something similar to that, where somebody finds the underground bunker and gets locked in, or you're somebody who's trying to get out.
I think probably trying to get out and survive would actually fit more of the storyline.
Yeah.
Well,
But
again,
the
at
thing
the
is,
same
like,
time,
you can't really do something with that without like encroaching on Fallout or
True.
the book City of Embers. But they
Well,
could do
here's
something
what-
with that.
well, here's what I'm thinking as well. It's not just an issue, obviously trying to avoid copyright underground. Well, I think they could easily avoid Bethesda's copyright, specifically if the entire thing was one gigantic city. Like, it's not just a shelter, it is like a thriving, breathing city. That's how I think they can avoid it. And at the same time, you also have the issue of, if you are a person who is in the city, though, that kind of diminishes a lot of the, because Bioshock is at the end of the day a game about discovering a new world, and what's the term? You're a stranger in a strange land.
Yep.
Something
That's
like
kind
that,
of
yeah.
yeah. So I think it would be better if, much like Infinite and Bioshock 1, it would be a better idea to stumble across this. Maybe you're in a splunker looking into some weird formation, you wind up falling, hurting yourself, and then you discovered the city via this crack in the ceiling, I guess you would call it. Like you just came in through an area they never expected people to come through.
That kind of makes me think of like maybe an explorer who finds like an old mine shaft or something, goes cave exploring or something, and just boom, there you go. Kind of a synopsis.
This is also similar to
Exactly.
Metro.
True, but Metro is, again, a series more where it's just like how you
What?
where the protagonist.
He cut out.
Sorry, it is a series where the protagonist is lived in, and the player lives in it as well. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think
Where
another
Bioshock
difference
kinda
is that
escaping
at the end of the day, it's the subway system in Russia underneath the
The metro
city.
system.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, like I said, Bioshock is at its best when you are discovering something new and witnessing what a past glory was like.
Yeah, you're the
That's-
outsider looking in on the remnants of.
Exactly.
With
And I believe that's when Bioshock is. Go ahead.
with Bioshock 2, it's still the same formula. It's just you're the lesser liked looking in at its former glory.
True.
Exactly. And there is the excuse of you died, ergo you can return. You know?
That is another thing that they did. That's another thing. Like, the character died during the heyday of Rapture, and then came back at the worst time of Rapture.
Exactly.
So it's basically the same formula. It's a guy discovering a new world.
Wait, I
On
got
the
an
outside
idea.
looking in.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I got an idea of how we could solve both issues. Maybe the protagonist for this new Bioshock, this underground shock kind of thing, is a troublemaker. Someone who's always wanted to leave the city, but has been neglected from leaving. So the city decides to make you an example, except they don't shoot and kill you, but instead they lock you away in a form of like suspended animation, and they put you on display for the world to see. Like don't
Make
leave.
an example out of you.
Yeah.
Exactly, and then through that, there's like a time skip. You see things change slightly, and then one day the tube you're in breaks, and then you discover that your home is now this hell, and your goal now is I got to get out of here and save myself.
Yep. That would be.
I think that would work.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a
It's like-
very good idea.
Mhm.
One thing I think if they do go with something like that, one thing I think should be kind of added in is the aspect of like, what about your old family? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would also work.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't have to be a huge driving force, but kind of like hints of or makes you wonder or think of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like subtleties.
Yeah, yeah.
Like as
Old
the
memories
character
of the
goes,
past, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Kind of like with Bioshock 1's ghosts. As you go through certain areas that might be nostalgic to the protagonist, you get like little flashbacks of what it used to be like. Maybe his father calling to him as a boy, or him with childhood friends running around, that kind of thing.
Or his first girlfriend or something, like just bits and pieces that just really hit home and kind of connect you.
Yep.
Exactly. Like you are this, this is a vessel. First, sorry. The protagonist is a vessel player, but at the same time, these subtleties make the player feel like they're within a living, breathing person.
Yep.
Oh, we got some.
Yep.
What the fuck? I'm looking at YouTube chat. Who? What?
Oh, what is it? What?
We have Uganda Knuckles in the chat.
The fuck?
We had them for a split second. Okay, no.
Wait, who?
No.
I have a feeling.
No.
I have a feeling I know who this is. Hold on a second. I know who. Wait, I'm checking one of my groups. You in the live stream chat. Was
There's
it
nobody here. Anyway.
Not sure. Again, that might have been being a dick.
Somewhat finishing off the Bioshock thing. Should we be hyped for it, or should we hold on to it and wait to see?
I'm gonna hold on and wait.
Same.
Likewise,
Granted,
it's better.
I am excited. I'm just not going to be hyped for it. Not yet.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, it's good to speculate. Good feeling of, yes, let's go. But at the same time, it must be tempered. Like cheese.
Yeah. Pretty much.
If anyone's seen the, what is it? The triumphant music with lyrics, you know what I'm talking about.
Wow.
This octopus, let's give him boots.
See,
What?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'll link it to you guys later. Don't worry.
I'm
afraid I'm afraid to click the link.
Be excited for Bioshock, but just don't get too excited. Don't hype it up, because you never know. A lot of people do that, and then it blows up in their face.
Yes.
And it becomes a massive disappointment.
Yes, what I've learned with like any kind of movie, for example, is like you're excited or you're hopeful, but at the same time, just like don't expect too much.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I still have yet to see Rampage. I don't remember when it's coming out. I want to see it.
I think it is out. I'm not entirely sure. I thought it was coming out the 20th, but I think it's already out.
Yes, I think so too.
I want to see it.
I think last time I checked, it said it was either the 20th or the 15th or something like that. I was like, I don't know.
Anyway, shall we move on?
All right. We've got
we
one
can move
topic
on while I look it up.
We've got one topic left. Is it a good idea to reimagine heroes and established characters if a series has been running too long, or should it just be left as is?
Oh
This is a bit of a
boy.
loaded one.
This is getting into some very, very
Nerdy shit, yes.
I wasn't gonna say nerdy. I was actually gonna say very tricky topic to discuss because oh boy.
Well,
Oh
I guess.
man.
Well, I'm gonna break the ice first, I suppose.
Real quick, sorry to interrupt. Rampage came out April 13th.
I gotta see it. I'm sorry, I used
All
to
right.
Now you
play
can
that
go.
game on the couch after school. I love that game. I want to see the movie.
First time I ever played it was on the Game Boy.
Mhm.
So, I guess I'm
All
going
right.
to start this one first, or take the first pot shot.
for
I
it.
believe that there is no issue with reimagining established characters, like in comics or movies or whatever, so long as it pays respect to the original and is changed well. It's not changed because of slight differences or bullshit like that. At the same
Change a
time,
mechanic or two.
but
Mhm.
at the same time, it should also, if the story has run its course and you don't want to damage the original brand or character, introduce someone to take the reins of that character, like a descendant or an
Mhm.
apprentice.
Yeah, like how they did Batman Beyond for that one.
Exactly. I was about to bring up Batman.
I'm just
There
thinking
are-
of Super Mario Brothers right now, and I'm getting angry.
We're talking about Batman and suddenly Mario.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a video I gotta share with you later.
Okay. I'm afraid to click the link, but okay.
However, there are two examples of this being well with like Batman, and that is, like Bill said, Batman Beyond, which
Mhm.
featured a new Batman and it was done well. It was a kid learning, but still capable of being
Mhm.
taught by Old Man Wayne.
Mhm.
And the DC animated movie called Flashpoint, in which everybody knows how Bruce Wayne became Batman, right? Parents died in an alley.
Mhm.
Yeah, no change there. Flashpoint changes one crucial event where instead of the parents being shot and killed by the mugger, Bruce Wayne's father leaps in to fight the guy, resulting in the gun going off and killing Bruce Wayne as a kid. This winds up
I
destroying
remember
his
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it winds up destroying his mother, who supposedly becomes the Joker, and his father, Thomas, decides to become the Batman. And yet his version of Batman is so brutal, evil, and just hardcore that it can stand on its own as
Mhm.
this is what would have happened had that night gone different. And it's brilliant. I like it.
It was a nice little spin-off and really made you kind of think and it's like, nah, let's go back to the original, please. This is way too extreme. It's just
I mean,
but that's
I would
really
like
how things could change.
No, I would have liked seeing this new Batman specifically because I'm not always up for change, but creative and interesting change.
I have
That's
to
what
kind of agree on that one. Yeah. I mean, like you said earlier, it really has to depend on how they change it or how much they change.
Yeah,
And if they really keep in mind the original story and keep respect to that, then it's kind of hard to argue whether it's good or bad unless you see how it plays out.
exactly. Even the everyone Telltale.
You're cutting out.
Sorry, everyone here knows about the Telltale game. Am I still cutting out?
Batman. Yeah. No, I heard you. I'm looking for the video I talked about.
No,
I
I'm
don't
talking
remember.
about. Yeah, well, Telltale did just like H said. They did a version of the game, and again, that is it's another good reimagining while still staying truthful to the source material. However, what makes me champion that uh, that series to hell and back, I will always say, play the Telltale ones if you want to see something really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that is because in the Telltale games, you can actually prevent a lot of Batman's villains from becoming the villains they are, or at the very least, changing them in such a way that that there's a glimpse of them being redeemed. And the perfect example of is if you stop to save Harvey during a specific scene, his face will be intact. He will not look like Two-Face. He'll still become like Two-Face, but physically he looks normal, which is, that's a good. It gives you a sense of I did what I could to save him. I feel like I've done a good, what my best possible, my best possible move. And then you've got, but the biggest one I think is with the Joker. And everyone hears that name, and everyone, oh, he's still this mega, this insane clown that likely will kill an orphanage for the sake of giggles. I don't know if that was half joking or serious. I can't tell.
The original character of the Joker, like way back in the original beginnings, is that he himself was just so psychotic and sadistic. Period.
Mhm.
Full out.
Exactly.
That's all he cared about.
This is true, but in this in the Tale, believe it or not, this version of Joker is more. He's not mentally broken to the point of like, I'm going to, drop children off roofs, kind of crazy. It's more like he's having a hard time trying to know who he is, what he is, etc.
Oh,
And
a mental break kind of a thing.
exactly, he's trying to.
Yep.
He's trying to rediscover or understand who he is in the grander scale of things. And so when, in one of them, when you have to be Bruce Wayne, you can be his friend, which is something I think a lot of people were curious about, or at least a very small minority. However, throughout the series, you can basically win him over to a better side, the better side, and it actually has a tangible result, where in the most recent one, Joker will actually make himself look like Batman, but with a Joker flair. He'll actually try to be a hero. He still has those moments where he breaks down, attacks people, and almost kills them, but he does it. There is a very light semblance of change. But unfortunately, he does wind up becoming the Joker later. So,
well, you tried.
Telltale keeping true to that. Your choices don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think that one kind of does play that your choices do matter. It's just sometimes you can't always change it, even if you are able to change something else.
Exactly. And to be quite fair, I'm happy with this. Like I said, Telltale has, in my opinion, created an interesting Batman concept and miniaturized universe that I actually want to see people, this alternate reality, this young Batman group, pseudo-realistic villains, and actually having some effect to greater, to an actual thing. If this can become its own thing, I'll be more than happy. Even though I'm not even a Batman fan.
Are you going to say something, HH?
Yeah, go ahead.
Nope. I'm not a superhero fan, so I'm not part of this.
Oh, okay.
The only thing I was going to mention was, and folks there's probably going to be a whole bunch of folks who are going to hate me for saying this, but I have to say that right off the bat. But it's like recently they had that whole push to reimagine the different superheroes simply for like politically correct reasons and just all those different things. And it's like, I can understand what you're trying to do, but I'm not a fan of that because you're just changing them to change them.
Exactly. There is no tangible effect to that, especially with more. They change all the characters. They try to rewrite
Exactly.
some weird ways, and hell, but even when they introduced to take up the mantle of the old ones,
Yeah.
it's horrible. They sacrificed the original characters for the sake of the new ones, and the new ones Mary Sue's with no flaws or anything. That at the end of the day, I'm like, no, I can't do this. I
And
just
that's
can't.
putting it mildly and simplistically.
Exactly.
I
mean,
mean, if you're,
go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, if you're really gonna change it and you really want to push that kind of a thing in your change, then do some work on it. Make it worth reading. Make it worth enjoying.
Exactly.
You gotta sell me the character and how it connects, how it works. And that's what Batman Beyond did, was that you had Bruce Wayne who's getting so on in age that he can barely keep up in regular life. And then he meets what's his name? Terry, I think it is.
Yeah, Terry.
Who yeah, who could fit the role, who knows exactly kind of what Bruce Wayne was talking about, but he's still that young punk who's still trying to find his own little niche. So he tries it out, he works at it, and then he realized, oh crap, this is more than just me. I really have something here. I really need to do this.
Exactly.
And
It's the perfect
and
combination.
yeah, and something like that would be perfect for, like, whatever kind of change you want to make. But you have to structure that. You got to build it.
Exactly. It can't just be, we're going to take the likeness of this. Exactly. It can't be, we're just going to take. That's it. We're going to completely and utterly destroy the original, prop up this new one with no flaws, and then nothing will happen.
Right.
It's something
Having fun with the flowers, HH?
I was waiting for somebody to
What do you
notice.
Yeah, I had to wait till I finished going through the entire explanation before I could say that.
It's like the entire time you guys were talking, Flower Boy was just zipping around the screen.
I was watching the entire time. I'm watching the screen as we talk so I can check the chat. Or at least
the non-existent chats.
I have the chat. I have the chat windows popped open. I can read them too.
Yeah, the chat with the Ugandan.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I guess we've covered our topic then. We are almost done. We got 2 more things to speak about, and
It
then
was
we're
mostly
finished.
about fucking Batman.
Well, that's the easiest one to use as an example.
Yeah, because nobody else ever tries anything else. It just kind of is. Meh.
Well, they did try to reinvent some of the other ones, but it's like, again, that was the whole PC push type of changes. Like, that doesn't do anything.
I remember. I remember. Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to remake it. They tried. It's awful.
Yeah. Welcome to our pain.
Yeah, that's basically the same discussion as, like, if you want to remake it, that's okay. You got to know what you're doing, though. You got to structure it and you got to build it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I'm back. Gotta wait for everybody else. So many technical difficulties today. So many. I don't understand what's going on. Oh, wait, no. There we go. I love this flower guy. He's so funny. But no, brutal honesty, I was not paying attention during the entire thing. Because I'm not a fan of superheroes. Currently, I have Jack in the Box. I have a mug of hot cocoa. I am set. Before people start joining into the call again, I'd like to remind you all that there is a blog that is linked at the bottom of the description, and I have yet to link it on my Twitch page, but I will do that. This blog is for Random Talk. Hello. I was in the middle of something. This blog is for Left for Random Talk, and we would greatly appreciate it if you guys would go to said blog and suggest topics. And for us to use, because we're deciding that we're gonna do this every
Wednesday?
Every Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah.
So please do that. I'm editing the Twitch page as we speak to include the link to the blog. I have Jack in the Box, by the way. So I have fries, I have chicken nuggets, I have a drink, and I have hot cocoa.
Nice.
All right. I have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I have lamb stew.
All right. Okay. So I guess we're on to. I guess we finished the reimagined.
I will be honest, because I said this to whatever audience we have. I was not paying attention during the entire thing because I am not a fan of superheroes. So as soon as you start talking about Batman, I stop listening.
Yes, we were talking about Button. We were talking about Button. Yes.
By the way, did you guys see the video I linked?
I have not watched it yet.
Again, we were kind of going to do this after we were done.
Yeah.
All right. So we got the last topics are the monthly things, and that is my mobile suit of the month and HH and Bill's Pokemon of the month.
Yep. Let me look for an image of said Pokemon, and Rev, you're gonna have to share an image of whatever mobile suit you're using.
I'm way ahead of you.
Do you want to include Liam on this, or?
So long as he doesn't derail everything, yes.
All right, let me message him and see if he would like to join.
In the meantime, I would like to mention real quick, I do have something in terms of the last messages later on.
Shoot.
I'll save it for later. It's a bit of a surprise.
Okay. I will say this, though.
You go ahead first.
I was going to make a joke and say, it's Liam. He has nothing better to do.
I'm staying out of that one.
No, I'm just joking. Joking!
What I was going to mention was the bit of surprise does have to do with co-optional, and you will find out what it is later.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh boy.
It may not be what you're thinking.
Oh.
I will say it's I'll say it's more Total Biscuit specific, but yeah.
I was about to joke and say, it seems that Bill has been moving up in the world while we've been here.
I wish.
Good. I've successfully crushed his hopes and dreams. Excellent.
Hey,
okay, no, we're not adding him.
Uh-oh.
What's wrong?
Before I explain why, I'm going to share this little story that he is never going to let me down for. So, I gotta tab away from that, or else I'm just gonna sit here giggling. I played D&D with a friend called WildOn92 or 29 or even 19. His name always changes. We also call him Liam or Sir Edgelord. Or the Edgelord. And
isn't his character named Jack?
yes. His character is named Jack, and then he got another one named Finn, and now Jack has returned. Anyway.
Okay.
I play D&D with this guy, and I really, really struggle to play with him. Because it doesn't matter what character I roll, I never feel like I'm helpful. And he makes it feel worse. Because he complements everybody else's abilities, but it's always the abilities that my character was rolled to do. So he only complemented the magic user's ability to hunt. I am playing a ranger. I hunt. He's complementing our barbarian's ability to track. I'm a hunter. I track. And he's also complimenting their dire wolves for being such good dogs. My ranger has a pet wolf who he raised from a puppy. But it got so bad that I started getting a really low moment, like maybe I shouldn't play anymore, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And then suddenly he joins me in a call, and he is drunk. And when Liam is drunk, he becomes a Scotsman. So he aggressively apologized while drunk. I have never ever been apologized to before. Just gonna say that out here. I've never been apologized to by somebody else's actions. So whenever I managed to stand up for myself in school, I never got an apology. I was the one that always had to apologize. But anyway, I have never been apologized to, and I have definitely never been aggressively apologized to.
Two things. I remember the story, and
I didn't know whether to say thank you or hang up and freak the fuck out, because he was aggressively apologizing while really drunk. So right now, he is through half a bottle of whiskey.
Oh god.
Right now?
I'm not reading it. Here's what he says. I am drunk, ATM. Like half a bottle of whiskey drunk. Decent whiskey at that. But sure, Lord. Add me in, you amazing hound of Hades.
I'm being your amazing hound of Hades. That's the best I can do. I'm not good at accents.
Let him sleep this off. Let him sleep this one off.
Yeah, really.
I'm telling him, we are live streaming this. Are you sure?
No, don't add him.
No,
don't.
If he's that bad, he's gonna have enough of a headache.
That and he will derail us to hell and back.
He said, "Yeah." He said it with a J.
Oh no! Leave the poor guy alone.
He's soused.
Oh god, my freaking throat.
Uh-oh.
I am so concerned that he's going to aggressively beg now.
No, don't.
You're making me choke on my stew.
Just say we're having technical issues.
No, I told him
like
I honestly can't. We'll try again next month. He's like, sure. So calm. He is so calm. Sure.
Again,
never let it be said an alcoholic was not a.
I'm going to copy this and see if you can understand what he just said.
Oh boy.
Oh, excuse me.
I will not be drunk as fuck.
He has so many typos.
I will not be drunk as fuck.
Alright. Rev, did you get the image of this mobile suit?
Yeah, I've got like a few odd ones. I'm just trying to decide which one.
Just pick one that's gonna show the full body.
Start with the best generic one.
Just show
that's the problem.
Just show one that's clear. And if there's more than one, I can show all of them if you'd like.
Yeah, well, no, that's the problem. Look, I'm going to show you guys what the wiki gives me as standard,
Oh God.
and don't
That's not always a good thing.
don't freaking laugh. I
Uh-oh.
don't make this shit. I don't.
Good thing I stopped eating because I don't want to choke again.
What the fuck?
Exactly. You see?
The
No, we're not
hell?
using.
It's a
Oh
We're not
wait, he
using
showed me
this.
that one.
It's
He
a
showed me
Yes.
that one.
I said there was a freaking one. Look, the only one I could probably show on stream that's decent is a slight alteration, and even then, I hate doing that.
I would say show both.
Too late. I'm putting the latest up there.
That one's a little bit better, kind of.
There is this one that I think we should use instead.
The yellow one?
No, there's a third one.
I'm gonna show all three of these, by the way.
Oh, all right, fine. Let the people be confused. Oh, God damn it! I just saw the screen. Like, don't show this one. It immediately shows that one. Like, okay, we're going with. I guess the third one down will be like the main talking point for me.
I'm keeping Flower Boy for as long as I fucking can. Okay?
She
I was
really
wondering about
wants to
that.
leave.
I was wondering about that.
All right. You guys want to go first with your thing? La, la.
As much we don't have fuck, I can't talk right now. I've been laughing too hard.
You're fine. You're fine.
If we go with ours, it's not going to be as informative. Truth be told,
Okay.
because like when it comes to Pokemon, I'm not one that enjoys fighting at all.
So it'll
I
be more
know
like
a little bit
informal.
more about that, but I'm still amateur when it comes to those type of details.
I think you guys should go ahead first, since you two can share the topic more
Well,
freely
unfortunately,
between
I
each other.
have the
And I'll just...
Gundams more prepared than I have the Pokemon, so we have to go with
Okay.
Gundam.
They're already on screen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I might as well start then, shouldn't I?
They're dancing around Flower Boy.
I'm just adjusting them
Fine.
so Flower Boy stays there. Fuck.
Flower Boy stays there. Fuck. I love it. I love how you shouted that.
Yeah, really. Perfect timing.
There we go. Okay, there we go. There we go. Flower Boy still.
Are we sure? Are we sure Liam's the one that's drunk and it's not us?
Well, it can't be me because I don't drink.
All
And
right.
I don't touch alcohol. I've been for a long time.
Okay, so I guess I'll start I'll start us off then.
Yeah, I'll get the
Alright.
Pokemon images ready.
Okay, well.
If you need help with that, let me know.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you watching in the future, which I know you are, the mobile suit of the month is the Zaku 1. This was a bit of a, well, I guess you could call it executive decision, since this is technically the first model mobile suit we're going to be talking about. So, Zeon's first mass-produced mobile suit, the Zaku 1 was pretty much the workhorse for Zeon's military during the Battle of Loom and much of the One-Year War. Basically, its design was pretty much lifted from, I guess you could call it old Greek armor designs, what with the skirt and the large pauldron on the left side. In terms of uses as well, it did see a lot of action during the beginning of the One-Year War, but as the war progressed, it slowly began to get phased out by the Zaku 2, much stronger, more effective, and overall generally the better grunt unit of the Zeon military. Though some Zaku 1s would still see combat during the One-Year War, these were rare and far between. As seen in the middle one, this is the rare exception of a Zaku 1 seeing combat later into the war. Once more, these machines did have much like the Zaku 2s, did have command horns, as seen with the middle Zaku 1. These were usually used to denote rank, as well as a boost in radio signal for faster communications. The Zaku 1 would continue to be phased out until much, much later in the One-Year War, when Zeon was finally pushed off of Earth and began losing territory to the Federation. The Zaku 1 would eventually see reuse during the final battle of this One-Year War. Unfortunately, by this time, the Zaku 1 was so horribly outdated and so ineffective that these machines were quickly and easily picked off by the Federation's much more capable gyms that saw better use and stronger armaments and so on. Many of the Zaku 1s eventually became nothing more than scrap, with many others being used as training dummies after the end of the One-Year War. The Zaku 1 would, of course, go down in history as the workhorse and the baseline for the Zaku 2 for Zeon's history. Years and years later, the Zaku 1 would see reuse, I want to say 30, maybe 20 years after the Neo-Zeon War, and would see a redesign and reuse as the Zaku 1 Sniper. There is no image of the Zaku 1 Sniper, as technically speaking, this is a separate mobile suit from the Zaku 1. And unfortunately for that, I will not be discussing or talking much about it. I will say that it was heavily modified with an extendable knee, a sniper, beam sniper, which was used quite frequently, and of course, a modified head, where the camera could actually move between the eyes, not between the eyes, move more freely, looking up, side to side, and of course, down. The Zaku 1's primary power source was, of course, an internal particle generator inside the torso region and back. This Minovsky particle generator is what powered the entire machine and made it incredibly combat effective. These machines during the Battle of Loon were so destructive, only a handful of them, actually were able to destroy the Federation's fleet, a fleet of thousands, in just a few hours to few moments. Fighters, cruisers, and even personnel could not stop them. Now, moving on to armaments. Because the Zaku 1 was the first, because the Zaku 1 was the first true Zeon mobile suit, or Grunt mobile suit, it came standard equipped with only a few weapons. This included the 150 millimeter machine gun. This machine gun was pretty much the standard weapon of the Zaku 1. However, what separates that from the Zaku 2's machine gun is that the ammo clip was found on the right side. It had no stock, and it was predominantly used, well, more like a submachine gun, if anything. Zaku's later on would, of course, replace this machine gun with a much more sturdier and heavy-duty version, I guess you could call it, famous Zaku machine gun. There was an alteration used by, of course, the infamous Red Comic Char, a alteration used by Char, which had a ammo belt fed into the back of the machine. This ammo belt fed into the machine's primary. Sorry about that. This ammunition was used in the back of the Zaku. Was located on the back of the Zaku 1's machine gun, on the back of the Zaku 1, and was fed into the Zaku 1's machine gun. Its second weapon was the HNL-SB21K/280mm and Zaku Bazooka. These were basically tube rocket launchers that had extremely limited ammo. At most, some would assume it could only fire one rocket, though there were extensions that could allow them to clip on ammo racks on the back. They also had a 90mm assault rifle, shotguns, and of course the ever-famous Heat Hawk. These weapons were axe-like and could easily axe-like melee weapons, which were superheated at the blade. As seen on the right side of the screen, the Heat Hawk was one of the Zaku 1's most effective weapons in close range. Very few alloys could actually stand up to the heat that was generated. It also had one weapon which was seen at the beginning of the One-Year War which was the G3 nerve gas grenade launcher. As most people, or most individuals of the universal century knows, G3 nerve gas is extremely potent and deadly, and locked in colonies that had simple air filtration systems, it meant that it was quite likely that people would die from inhalation of the gas almost instantly. This weapon, of course, was outlawed several times over, and this particular grenade launcher was never seen or used after the first introduction, after the Alaska Treaty was signed. Its other weapons that it used was, of course, the S-mine, and finally, the knuckle shield and shoulder shield. As most people have probably noticed, the Zaku 1 actually lacks the right shoulder shield. This was specifically because this Zaku actually used its shoulder shield as an actual shield. Specifically, it would use it to defend its chest and parts of its body, while also using it as an offensive melee weapon. It was predominantly used to smash the cockpits of other pilots, either killing the pilot inside, knocking them out, or destroying the head entirely, rendering any head-mounted cameras useless. Overall, the Zaku 1 was basically Xeon's best and greatest, well, I wouldn't say best and greatest, but one of Xeon's most effective and reliable mobile suits. It is truly a pity that the Zaku 1 would never see redeployment years later, nor would the design survive after the war. That concludes the Mobile Suit of the Month. This has been Rev, and I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Honestly, it made me think like we were listening and watching, what was it, like a military briefing kind of a documentary. You have the voice for it, I'll say that.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Why do I get the feeling that in the future someone's gonna
what?
Why do I get the feeling someone's gonna cut that entire segment live stream and reuse it as a how to defeat Zaku 1?
Wouldn't be surprised.
I do admit
how many actually do that kind of a thing, I wouldn't be surprised.
I will admit I did butcher a few things here and there, some of the history points and some of the weapons, but
Just make sure,
I'll try and improve next time.
Just make sure that it's not plagiarism that you're doing, because that's very, very bad.
Oh no, everything I've just said was completely off the. I literally did not look at the wiki once.
But you remembered it?
Someone sneaking between the suits.
Yes, I remember many of the weapons, some of the battles it was used, and what the suit was used for.
If anyone's going to remember these details, it's him.
Again, I could link the wiki to you guys, and you could put it in the description. People can check it.
That's what I was kind of hoping to do, but I wanted to wait for you to be finished.
All right, here I'll send it to you.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll link the two detail articles I got for the Pokemon after we go over that.
There we go. It's in the gallery.
I'm keeping
All right,
Flower Boy right there.
Yeah, he's sneaking in. He's sneaking in. I watched him.
I like that. I watched him. Specifically, I watched him.
Kind of hard not to when you see something moving out of the corner of your eye, you know.
Don't you know?
Oh, don't you know?
It's so hard to tell what your accent is, because like at one moment you sound like you're from the South, another you sound like you're from Canada.
Consider I'm from California, and I'm one of the few who talk like this, and this is my normal talking accent, tone, and whatnot.
Yeah. I forgot to link the blog in Twitch channel. Damn it.
Oh, wait. I also made horrible mistakes. I'm checking the wiki now. Specifically, when I mentioned the Zaku 1 sniper type.
Mm-hmm.
I said that it was never seen or used until after the 1 Year War, but apparently it was refurbished and deployed towards the end of the 1 Year War. So sorry about that.
Well, in a technicality, you could almost say it wasn't, but
True. Still, I'd like to cover my bases.
Yeah, fair enough. Better be thorough about it than be accused of being completely wrong in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway,
I like that E.
I say yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Anyway, hot cocoa. My throat's now all gunked up.
Ugh.
Oh, is it the thick type or is it just the heat?
I don't use water for hot cocoa. I use milk.
Oh,
actually-
so it's gonna be the thick, rich stuff.
Oh yeah.
The thick grit is. Hold on, I should do something. Does anybody know how to set up polls online for people to vote on?
Go to
Straw
straw
poll?
Because I
poll.
forgot to do that.
Straw poll.
Straw.
One
poll.
word. Straw poll.
P-O-L-L, one
Poll.
word.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna set this up now so people for the next mobile suit of the month.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that in that whole thing. Why am I fucking this up?
It's the first time.
All right.
In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and put the 2 links that I got for the Pokemon information in the gallery here, so you can add that in later on.
Whoops. Okay. I gotta be clearing my throat a lot, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine.
Understandable.
Plus, I did just finish my official dinner, so I got like grease in my throat, and I don't like it.
Understood.
Okay.
I'm only halfway through.
Okay. Oh boy, here we go. Oh, I think Flower Boy might get covered up.
Oh no. He's like, why?
Nope. All right, so Bill and I decided that since Rev is gonna do the Gundam of the
Mobile
month,
suit of the month.
mobile suit of the month, yep.
Mhm.
Me and him are gonna even it out and do the Pokemon of the month because there is a lot more anime groups out there than just Gundam, which is fine. I mean, we're
The
all
list
into
goes
our own
on
thing.
and on and on and on.
Oh yeah. So
Into the distance and infinity and beyond.
to infinity and beyond. Anyway, our Pokemon of the month is Altaria or Altaria. Never know how to say it.
The name comes from alto, the vocal range, and aria, the melody, airy melody.
Mm.
So, as far as I can tell, it's an air or melody. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's basically Altaria, as far as I know of. But that's me being fancy with the accents.
Just so everybody knows, Altaria is a dragon and flying type, and the Pokemon type of the that we picked, is flying. So this fits.
Specifically, Generation 3.
Yeah, Generation 3, flying type. Altaria was the only one that we both decided on, and we definitely we talked about this for a bit.
Yeah. We
Not
did like
really.
a top 5 list, and then had like which ones matched, and kind of weeded out from there.
Weedle.
Yeah.
I just realized you said it.
Well, I was trying to say we did, but yeah,
It's
tongue rolled
Pokemon.
around.
You
some.
can't help it.
Yeah.
But no,
Well, that and plus tongue has its own. Yeah.
Altaria's has a mega evolution where it turns. Oh, there goes my lighter. That goes to Dragon and Fairy, which is pretty interesting if you ask me. And its
And that's
shiny
the one in the
is
center.
yellow. Now,
On the left.
yep. Now, personally, I love Pokemon. I love the Pokemon games. It's just I am tired of the formula. I am so very tired of the formula. So whatever we list in these Pokemon of the month, we're not giving you the tactical advice about it. we're giving you like the
Oh.
basics. Like if this creature was in your home.
Yeah, we're going to be kind of covering this almost like how in the anime they would kind of talk about like, well, this one does this, and this is how it does this, and something like that.
Yeah. By the way, I'm drinking soda, so that's what that noise is. With
Go
Altaria,
for it.
it basically looks like a swan shoved into a cotton candy ball, which is pretty simple.
Well,
Like
that's one of the nice things about this, is that
Yeah.
it's very cuddly and very soft.
this is something that I look into when it comes to my Pokemon teams. I want to look into one that I can cuddle and warm my face up and just keep warm and cuddle. And I also want one
Mhm.
to hold for comfort. And also have one
Mhm.
that will be able to support my weight and help me out around the house.
I do something basically similar, but I'm more of the battle trainer type, so
Mhm.
I kind of look at it from that perspective as well. And the one thing I will say in terms of that is that Altaria really does cover the basis when it's on the original form of dragon and flying, because that's a pretty hefty combo.
There is actually an image like that I'm looking at from the wiki. There's a girl on Altaria's
Mhm.
back, and she is tiny
Yeah.
in comparison. These things are not small. These things are pretty big.
Actually, according to the information I was able to find, the regular height or average height of an Altaria is 3 foot 7 inches.
Oh my god.
A Mega Altaria is 4 foot 11, the same height as my grandmother.
Yeah. So they're
Both of them
short,
weigh
but
in.
at the same time, they're still pretty big.
Yeah, they're like I guess you could say almost like a turkey. How it looks deceptively small when it's actually pretty hefty.
Yeah.
They both weigh in about 45 pounds and change, so they're pretty, decent sized critters. Don't expect to have them sitting on your shoulder anytime soon. Without a lot of trips to the gym.
Stat wise, it is best.
I got the base.
It's super effective against fairy, dragon, rock, and ice. Pretty understandable there.
Generally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's half effective against fire, water, grass, fighting, and bug.
And does nothing against ground.
It is 0. It actually has like a black image with a number 0.
Nothing.
No effect.
It does nothing.
Normal effectiveness against poison, electric, normal, flying, psychic, dark, steel, and ghost. So,
yep.
If let's say you're going up against Brock at the gym, the gym Brock, Rock Gym or something like that, or you're going up against that
Peter City,
or the gym leader that has all the dragons, Altaria would be great for it. But the best gym to go against, I don't know if this exists, is the ice one.
I think there is at least one or two. I can't really quite remember which generations though.
Yeah.
I know there's at least one.
I'm just gonna read you like the stats that I'm seeing here for what I'm going for. Dragon, Fairy, and Rock have a number 2 in the box. Ice has a number 4. Let that explain things for you.
I'm just double checking something because I just remembered the ice gym you mentioned. I vaguely remember what generation, so I'm double checking that real quick.
Okay.
If I can.
Like as a pet, I think the only annoying thing would be, well, somewhat annoying.
How big it is.
That and I remember it, from what I'm remembering from both a funny comic and from this, when it likes somebody, like it's really connected with somebody, it'll hold them and just hum.
Yeah, it is called the humming Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
In one of the ones I was able to find, it really does. It's one of those clingy types, the real super clingy, attached. Yeah. So if you really are into that kind of a Pokemon where you really like that kind of a cuddle and cling, there you go.
This Pokemon also sings beautifully.
Yes. That one I do remember.
I just now found what it says. If it bonds with a person, it will gently envelop the friend with its soft wings and then hum.
Mm-hmm.
But it mostly sings in a soprano, so be ready for that one too.
From my own experience in choir, soprano, you might want to put in some earplugs. They get some pretty high, shrill notes there.
This thing trills, so holy crap. You can definitely tell that we are passionate about Pokemon because we know jack shit.
Yeah, really. Well, actually, technically speaking, we do know quite a bit. It's just the differences of what we know versus what you kind of know in a general basis of Pokemon. Okay, I think I figured out what generation the Ice Gym was. I think it was Generation 2. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Because one of the Pokemon I vaguely remember being involved in that was the Swinub, the pig Pokemon. I could easily be wrong on that because my memory is crap. But I remember there was a Ice Gym. That much I remember. No guarantees when or where, but
I
anyway.
remember somebody's what is he? Nope. Nope. Ignore me.
Alrighty.
Not literally. I thought I remembered hearing that somebody's mega form was a pseudo legendary, and that's not it. In fact, there's none.
Yeah, there isn't really any in terms
No,
of that.
it's just the normal Pokemon that are pseudo legendary.
Yeah.
Those guys are going to be in their own category with the legendaries.
When we get to it.
Oh, never mind.
What was that?
I was so concerned that somebody was going to send the laundry basket down. And they usually just set it on the stairs and let it slide. So, let's say you do want to get a Altaria, mostly for flying or maybe to help you out with an ice-based enemy. There is a list of where you can... Or a cuddle buddy,
Or just have as a cuddle buddy, yeah.
Or an alarm clock.
Oh, that'll work too.
Oh god, so having this thing as an alarm clock would be terrifying because it could smother you.
Assuming it doesn't shatter every single window and glass piece in the household, yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, remember, sopranos are the ones who can hit that high end of a note if they hit the note perfectly.
Yeah. So there is a list of places you can find these guys in every version, almost. In Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, you can find them... Sorry, Ruby, Sapphire, and... You can find them at the Sky Pillar. So look out for that. With Fire Red and Leaf Green, I'm actually surprised that's on the list. You have to trade them from another game. Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Soul Silver, Heart Gold, Omega Ruby and Sapphire, you have to evolve Swablu itself. You have to find Swablu first, which is the previous evolution.
I can explain from personal experience. In the newer generations of the games, that's a lot easier to do. But originally, it was a pain in the butt.
Wait, which one had that? Pearl, Diamond. With Pearl and Diamond, you gotta go to Route 211. For Platinum, it's 210. For Heart Gold and Soul Silver, it's 45. Omega Ruby and Sapphire, it's 114, 115, and Sky Pillar to find Swablu. I am winded. Because when I talk, I hold my breath.
Oh yeah, you take in the one breath and let it all out as you go, and hope like hell you said everything.
Yeah. Black and White, and then Black 2 and Black 2 and White 2 are somewhat similar. Route 14, Abundant Shrine. Route 14 is the only thing they share. In the second versions, it's Abundant Shrine, Victory Road, the Nature Sanctuary, and the Nature Preserve. I never understood the Preserve. Even in the originals. I didn't care for it.
That was kind of like a safari park thing, and it's like...
That was a time-based thing.
Yeah. The original one was, yeah.
In Pokemon X and Y, it's Route 21.
Sun and Moon you have to trade, and then Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon you have to go through the Space Wilds.
The Ultra.
Specifically
I love the
Cliff
name of
World.
that. Ultra Space Wilds.
And I've gone through a few of those myself, and oh boy, do they get tiring.
Yeah, so maybe it'd be smarter to just trade and migrate from another game.
Usually, if you have one ahead of time, then just trade up, and you'll have all the old familiars that you know, and it's a lot
Yeah.
easier to work with.
Oh yeah.
In fact, if you're able to trade from an older version to a new, like Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon, you're likely you have a chance of it's like a parasite or something your Pokemon has that helps you boost their evolution and leveling up. So that tends to be a little bit better.
Minor note: to evolve Swablu to Altaria, they need to be level 35. So
At
get
least.
cracking.
I do have to throw in that I said at least because at times, depending on how the game plays out, they don't always evolve at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've had that happen like once or twice where they evolve like a level or two later.
Mm-hmm.
So go figure.
Oh, yeah, I actually now see what we were talking about with the turkey thing. Their natural weight is 45 pounds, or 20 or 20.6 kilograms.
Yep.
That's big.
Yep.
That's very big.
When you look at the size and all, it's like they look, poofy, tiny, lightweight because it's a bird. But like I said, with the turkeys, they are actually very heavy or hefty weighted. And I'm not even talking about the farm-raised turkeys. I'm talking about wild turkeys. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because you're talking about how much muscle, how much, density and everything. So.
And the fact that these things can carry people effortlessly as a mount.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I am really winded now.
I'm gonna win myself later on.
Like before we get to
That's a surprise I mentioned. Sorry.
Before we get to ideas of what these Pokemon can be used for like home life, I want to go through like the base stats that you can do before you start training and leveling them. I'm trying to fight off a belch.
I have it here. Oh.
I
have the base stats here.
Yeah, I'm looking at them too. Their base HP is like 75, but the max they can go roughly is 354. But I'm not even going to start the minimum.
We'll skip the minimums and leave that for whoever wants to look it up.
Yeah, I am going to be putting a link to the Pokemon database in the description.
I personally looked up both the database and the Bulbapedia to cross-reference.
I lean more towards the database,
details.
really.
They're both good. I just use them both as a cross-reference to kind of compare it. So.
Yeah. A base attack is 70 that it can get to 662. So, nice.
No, that's 262.
I said that.
I thought you said 6.
No,
my ears might not be working.
Yeah. Base defense is 90, but it can get up to 306.
So it can be a tank. Mild one, but a mild tank.
Just wait another two stats. Special attack.
Yeah, really.
Special attack is similar to regular attack. It starts at 70 and then gets to 262. So
but the special defense.
Then you get to special defense. Like the HP stats is pretty dang high, but this one's pretty good. Like this is definitely like a tank against a Pokemon that strictly use their abilities. I guess I never understood special defense or anything like
that. Special attacks and special defense are like Hyper Beam or Water Gun. You're kind of launching an attack like that.
Right.
Regular attack and defense is like Mega Punch or something like that, where it's more physical.
So special defense base is 105.
105.
It's its highest stat until like you reach the max stats where
it's still the
HP,
highest.
Where the
actually,
HP
no, it's actually
surpasses
the second
it.
highest.
Yeah, HP surpasses
the second highest.
But the maximum it can go roughly is 339.
Mm-hmm.
This thing can survive a lot.
From my own experience, when fighting against the fighting types in the Elite Four Challenge, my Altaria was definitely my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically for the special defense and the flying type movement attacks and everything. Is just, oh boy, was it a lifesaver.
By the way, I messed up earlier. It's not very effective against grass. It's 1/4, not a half. It's 1/4. Speed base stat is 80. Maximum it's 284. Oh boy.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Pretty decent speed.
Then you
But there
got
are
to
attacks that
Mega
can beat 'em up.
Altaria. Like, holy crap.
Uh-huh.
Mega Altaria is beautiful, but also I can only imagine the dandruff and allergies that can come from that thing.
Assuming you are allergic to that kind of an issue.
Well, there are people who are like allergic to birds because of the dust that it makes.
True. Dander and whatnot is what usually causes it, yeah.
Base HP for Mega Altaria is 75. The highest it goes is 354. It's still the highest stat.
Mm-hmm.
But then attack, defense, and special attack base is 110. And all
And
three
they
of
max
them,
out at 350.
they all reach 350. Yeah.
Yep.
Special defense is 105. And then it reaches 339. So it's no
Speed is the
longer
same
the second
as-
stat. It's like the fifth highest.
Yep. And speed for Mega version is the same match as the original.
80 to 284. Yep. But it's in its Mega form that the stats that's effective against, the types it's effective against changes. Ice is now effective by 2. Poison, steel, and fairy, same thing, effective by 2.
Mm-hmm.
Fire, water, electric, grass, fighting, dark, and bug are half. Dragon is 0. Ghost, rock, psychic, flying, normal, and ground are nothing.
I would mention that that's because of the fairy type switching out for the flying type.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit the fairy portion of it is a new thing to me on that one, because when I originally got my Altaria, it was strictly flying and dragon regardless.
Yep.
So that one threw me for a loop for a few seconds. But after you get the hang of it, boy, is it a powerhouse.
Oh yeah. Which is kind of interesting because aren't dragons weak against fairies?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a very interesting combo.
Well, here's another one for you. Lucario, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
That Pokemon is both steel and fighting.
Oh god.
Steel is weak to fighting.
It's like when Pokemon Moon and Sun came out, everybody started complaining about the Sun Pokemon because it was 2 types that was really, really weak to each other.
Yep. Honestly, I gotta admit, when the fairy types first were released and all that, I was kind of at first. But after getting the hang of it and working with them, it made a lot more sense. And then it was like, oh, now I see what I'm doing. Okay.
Call me shallow or biased, but I also pick my Pokemon based on looks.
Understandable.
So
honestly, it's understandable.
There is only one fairy Pokemon out of all of those that I actually like. It's that little mouse.
Dang it, I forgot the name.
Dedenne or something?
Mimi something or...
Yeah.
Yeah, if I did... I gotta look up the...
That is the only one I liked. Out of all these, out of...
Dedenne.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
That's it.
It is cute. I'll say that.
I think it's mostly because I've always really wanted my own pet rodent.
I gotta admit, I grew up with pet rats, so I'm used to it. I'm used. I can pass.
Yeah.
But I will say
Cute.
my first fairy type
You're cutting
was
out, Bill.
Excuse me.
Sylveon. Full admittance, I love that.
I didn't hear any
Better.
of that, Bill. What was it?
I was saying that full admittance, my first fairy type was a Sylveon.
I don't really care for Sylveon, but So
Excuse me.
what?
Since I trained him up and got used to him, I'm not passing on him. That's all I can say.
Not to interrupt this
Yeah.
amazing conversation or anything, but I think we should be wrapping this up.
Yeah, we're trying.
We're getting
Okay.
there.
Just bring it up. Just keep me reminded.
Pokemon is pretty crazy, dude. It's pretty big, so.
It takes quite a bit to cover all the bases.
All right.
So, what could
did we
you
cover
use Altaria for in the home life, really, other than a cuddle bug?
Oh yeah. Well,
Transport.
that depends on what you first. Yeah, I was gonna say it depends on what you do, because if you were like a singer, it could help you back up with the rehearsals and training.
Mm-hmm. Definitely for I want to say fashion shows, but that's not it.
Oh, you mean like showcases or something like that?
Yeah, like they do with like cats and dogs, only a lot better.
Oh, the competitions and things and,
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Plus,
You know,
like
that's the thing,
I know quite a few people who own birds just because they love birds. Well,
Birds are quite unique in their own ways.
and this is technically a dragon.
Dragon bird.
Burb. Dragon, yeah.
Same thing.
So you could use it as a cuddle bug, you could use it just to have, a pet. Do remember
If
these
you're
things
crazy,
are
you
pretty
can have-
big.
Yeah, if you're crazy, you could have them help dust your house. Just give them a good bath afterwards.
Yeah. Maybe like a good inspiration for singing, transportation, maybe somebody who helps you with errands, and for shows.
Yeah. And that was the one thing I was going to mention, is that for you, HH, I could definitely see you being one of those competition coordinators. The kind of folks on the stage with the Pokemon. I could definitely see you doing that.
I
That
think
more than battling.
more of a cuddle bug.
True.
But but yeah, the Altaria in general is the Pokemon of the month. And
Yep.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be a whole bunch of people that will disagree, but this was very carefully
That's what we
thought
got.
out.
Discussed, planned, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
All right.
that's been the Pokemon of the month, Altaria, and the link is in the Twitch chat and in the description on YouTube. We're gonna be a lot more clean about this next time.
We'll work on it.
All right. Well, I did want to ask. I do.
What?
Well, I believe I've got the poll up for the mobile suit thing.
Okay.
I think. Create a poll.
You want to link it in the YouTube channel or something like that?
Yeah, I'm gonna send.
Link it in the Discord chat so we can see if it works. If it does, then I'll
that's
put it up.
I'm just gonna go gallery, or actually no, chat box. So it's much better.
Oh, I can actually create a poll, but but I can't actually because there's nobody in the chat.
All right, is it working?
Yep.
Yep. It's working.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to bookmark this for later. And there we go. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we are.
Yep, we're
Set.
winding down.
All right. Well,
So our schedule as of now is hopefully every Wednesday.
mhm.
It mostly depends on like what time we each get on. If we're not able to get on at a reasonable time. We'll save it for maybe some other day, for the next, just the next day.
Yeah.
Recap. We talked about the new Bioshock and went on a rant. We talked about the new Warframe, went on another rant. Talked about open worlds, had nostalgia and a rant. Talked about the law-breaking dev.
Lawbreakers.
Yeah, we didn't go on a rant on that one, really. Well, no, we did. We had a rant. We talked about Destiny, had another rant.
Instead of left for random talk, you think we should say left for rant talk?
Yeah. Reimagine Heroes. We didn't really rant about that one. I was not paying attention during it, and instead we enjoyed Flower Boy zipping across the screen.
I had a tiny rant on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the Gundam of the month, Zaku, was a Zaku 1. And hold on, trying to find a picture. And the Pokemon of the month again is Altaria.
I think that about covers everything.
I don't know if we're gonna do a straw poll for the Pokemon one. I think we're just gonna stick with the formula that we have right now for it, unless somebody comes up with a better idea. But yeah.
Yep.
I think for now we're going to keep to it just because it's going to kind of cover each one in turn.
Yep. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really need to go to the bathroom again, so...
I do have one final message, as I mentioned earlier.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep. Go.
Again, to mention, this was for co-optional, a tiny little personal message to Total Biscuit. He is not the modern Major General. I am the very modern Major General of information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the conceiving and the cultivates historical for Marathon of Waterloo. No, can I go?
And he cuts out.
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. It cut out. The internet does not.
When did it cut out? Where did it cut out?
We don't know.
We don't know. But we get what you're doing. We get it. We get what you're doing.
I am the very model of a modern Major General.
We got it.
Please. I can't. It's really bad that I'm laughing right now.
All right.
No, we'll see you guys
somehow.
We'll see you guys next Wednesday, hopefully. And we'll have new topics, and we'll be a little bit more professional and hopefully not have as many technical difficulties, because this has been our longest stream. Yeah. So.
Folks.
Bye.
All right, bye.